Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. I hope you guys are doing well on this lovely Wednesday. It is May 28th, 2025. Holy cow, episode 45 of Late Night with the Davey. I can't believe it. We're rushing towards that 50th episode mark. Oh gosh, I hope I make it. I'm excited for that one. So very, very much so pumped for that one. But you know, guys, I'm really pumped for tonight because this episode has been probably, gosh, almost 4 months in the making, something like that. Because back at the beginning of the year, we had our original Death Squad mod and channel member JAMI Hart on the program. I believe it was just like a Friday night episode that we did. It wasn't like a late night with the Davey thing. But we talked Evil Dead, which is a franchise that we're both massive fans of. And gosh, we got so carried away talking about it, guys, that we only made it through the first 3 movies. So, you know, here we are with part 2 to finish things up. We're going to be talking, you know, Evil Dead 2013, the Ash versus Evil Dead TV show, Evil Dead Rise from 2023, and yeah, what we know about Evil Dead Burn coming up next year, and just kind of what we want to see from the franchise moving forward. Or what we expect to see from the Evil Dead franchise moving forward. So I wanted to say what's up to everybody in here before we bring JAMI on in for this discussion. She's hanging out in the green room, waiting patiently, and it's looking great. She's got a new microphone. Everything is tip-top, so I'm super pumped, guys. Let's go ahead and say what's up to our folks in here. We got Lamontre Gillard, one of our great channel members. What's happening, Lamontre? Hope you're doing well. Chester Franklin Jr. is kicking it also. Oh, yeah, and I got that pinned in the chat. If you guys happen to have missed that first part of our discussion, you want to go back and check it out after this live, then there's a link there for you to check that out, of course. We got our guy, Dean Renner, one of our Patreon members and channel members. Hope you're doing well, Dean. I'm happy to say that Dean, who was the winner of our second ever channel member trivia, finally put his gift card to good use. He was actually able to get 2 4Ks off Amazon because he waited for that sweet, sweet deal. So he picked up Kingpin and Wayne's World. Is it Wayne's World 2, Dean? I think it's Wayne's World 2. On 4K. So guys, if you're not a channel member yet, but you're thinking about it, just $1 a month gets you in on that entry level. You can participate in our monthly, you know, right now they're just horror trivia, but we'll probably expand those as they keep on going. But if you win, you end up getting a $30 gift card. So sent off the $30 gift card that Brother Fluff won just last Friday. So it pays to be a member out here. We got Ashton Luck in the chat. What's happening, Ashton? There is our gal, JAMI. So great to see you, JAMI. We got Brett from Good Real Hunting, one of our channel members and Death Squad mods as well. We got Sam from Our Life in Horror saying, hey, everyone, Evil Dead 2013 is my fave, and Mia is my fave. Final girl. Fave with 3 Bs. Love it. Yes, man, Jane Levy. We'll talk about all of that. I'm a big fan, so we'll dig into it for sure. We got our guy Brett, another one of our channel members there, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but Our Life in Horror are channel members, so welcome on in, guys. Love to see it. We got NRU Cody says, hate to say it, but Evil Dead Rise has got to be the best one of all. Also, mommies with the maggots now. Oh yeah, yes, we will talk Evil Dead Rise here in just a few. Cody says JAMI is that pre-workout boost I need. Welcome on in, Cody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're not only pre-workout boost, I hope you're recovering well from your crazy fun weekend with Jordan and you know, Pat out there in Pennsylvania for Memorial Day weekend. Happy to have been able to hang out with you guys virtually. Wish I could have hung out in real life. We got Wilkie's Movies and Music in the house. What's happening? How you doing? Welcome on in. I'm excited to see who JAMI brings on in here, because last time it got pretty rowdy, guys. It got just a little rowdy. So we'll see who files on in as we chat. Let's see here. It looks like we've said hello to everyone. I don't think I missed anyone here. A couple of housekeeping things before we get going, you guys. This coming Saturday, Fletch 40th anniversary watch party. And guys, we're going to be joined by Christian from Planet CHH. He is a massive Chevy Chase fan and a huge Fletch fan, as am I. So I'm very, very excited to have Christian joining us here on the channel. I love what he does over there. He's an amazing, he's such a hard worker on his channel. And it's crazy to, I mean, it's fun doing this stuff, but the amount of content he puts out is like, holy cow, dude, this guy is driven. So very, very excited to have him on. I'm taking a page out of Jason from Backtrack Cinema's page. Taking a page from his book, from his Necronomicon, and I'm going to have some stuff brought up here that we can discuss as the movie goes on. So it'll be kind of a running commentary, and I'm sure we'll just be enjoying the film for sure. But I do want us to have a little bit of a direction, so to speak. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. So not going to be anything this Friday. I know sometimes I go live on Friday nights with you guys, but I'm actually going to the Diamondbacks baseball game. The Nationals are in town, and my buddy John is a Nationals fan, so we're going to go check that out. And I think the last little thing I have to say, other than welcoming in Hayden, what's happening, Hayden? Long time no see, man. Hope you've been well. It looks like you've, I think I just saw you posting some pictures from a convention you went to. Yeah. Or was it somebody's birthday and you had posted? I saw something recently. Let me know. Fill me in. I get so confused so easily. And then we got King Matthew the Third. Just got off work, extremely tired. Well, hey, you can kick your feet up and enjoy this chat then. Matthew, no worries about that. Yes, Fletch is absolutely a classic. We got our guy Matt Bocci. What's poppin', D-bag? Nothing much, man. Just chilling. The Oct is jumping in, letting us know it's 156 days until Halloween. Hell yeah. Holy cow. Guys, we've rounded the corner. We're no longer halfway or more than halfway away from Halloween. How cool is that? I do want to share one thing in here. Guys, Our Life in Horror, they're just one sub away from hitting that 700 mark. They're at 699. Guys, if you're not subscribed over there to Sam and Brendan's channel, go give them some love. Let's break them past the 700 mark while we're live here tonight. I would imagine that a lot of you are already subbed, but just in case you're not, go throw them a sub. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it very much. All right, guys, I think we're gonna get this thing rolling. I can't think of anything else that I've got for you that's pressing at the time, so I'm gonna try. I have no idea what's gonna happen with StreamYard when I do this. They might cut the music, they might cut the banner. I'm very curious to see what happens. So let's see what happens when I do this. Oh my gosh, look at that, kind of seamless. And then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and we've got Jamie Hart here. Oh, welcome on back, Jamie. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm glad to be back, and I've been ready to be back for a long time, but I promised my family that I would take it easy after everything happened. So yes. I took about 3 months, and now I'm off of the blood thinners and I'm feeling a lot better. So here I am.
It's great. I mean, like, I can't even tell anything happened.
I know.
Do you want to fill, if there's anyone in the chat that doesn't know, do you want to fill people in? Of course, you don't have to like say anything you don't want to say here, but
I'm an
feel
open
free.
book. I am a total open book. So I had a stroke in February, on February 21st. And ironically, I was watching Our Life in Horror when it happened. I was watching them, and I had a headache, and so I reached for the Tylenol, and I dropped it, which is weird because I don't know how that happened, but I dropped it and I fell when I went to pick it up. And then the next thing I knew, I could hear some commotion around me, and my husband was saying, "Hey, Jamie, what's wrong with you?" And I thought I said nothing, but he said I was speaking gibberish. Mm-hmm. And he said, "I think you're having a stroke." And I thought that was nuts. I could hear him, but I couldn't see him. because I think I was only half conscious. Next thing I knew, there was a bunch of people in my house, and they rushed me to they actually rushed me to a helipad because I had to be helicoptered to Erie.
Oh, wow.
Which is, thank God, because if they didn't, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I would probably have died, because the only reason that that I'm okay right now is because it only took 18 minutes for them to fly me there. And they gave me the clot buster immediately. And yes, I'm young, 50, I'm going to be 52 on Sunday, and I'm really, really young to have that happen. So it was shocking. I woke up in the hospital and I was looking up and I go, where am I? And the doctor goes, hey, you had a stroke. How are you feeling? And I said, I'm okay. Where am I? And he said, you're at, I thought it was at my local hospital. But he said I was in Erie, and I was like, what? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they put me in the ICU and took care of me. But noticed that I was completely, normal afterwards, and totally strong. I had a strong core. I had no muscle issues. I think maybe I might have a little brain issue because I keep forgetting words sometimes, but that could just be my age. So I don't know. But
it happens. It happens.
The reason it happened to me was because of a birth defect. I had a little thing, I don't know, they call it like a little well in one of my in my carotid artery, and it created this like web over top of it, which created a blood clot. And that is rare. It's only like 1.6% of the population has that. I mean, of the world. So the fact that happened to me was extremely weird and extremely rare. And my husband would be laughing right now because he says that everything that ever happens to me is rare. So I agree with him. It is true. Some of the things that happen to me are rare over the years, but yeah, so it was going to happen to me since the day I was born. And luckily, my husband is super smart and knew what he was a lifeguard before, so he knew what to look for in these things. And he knew what was going on. If I'd have been up here by myself and he wouldn't have come to check on me when I fell, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So yeah, that's what happened, guys.
Well, it goes without saying, we're so happy that not only you made it through, but that it seems like you've made a great recovery. Yeah, I mean, you just never know how those things are going to go. When I got the night that it happened, your son reached out through Instagram, and I mean, my heart skipped a beat because everything that we as a community had just gone through with Raymond. Our guy Raymond Malibu, who had a whole bunch of other health issues throughout his life, but that's kind of how things like really got bad for him. So it was just like, I was sitting there kind of freaking the hell out, but it was great to be able to have that that connection with your family, and to be able to feel like, okay, at least we can have our ear to the ground and make sure that I mean, you're a pillar of the community here on the horror sphere on YouTube. So just really great to know during the middle of the event that, things were looking good. And then, of course, here you are. And we're ready to talk some friggin' Evil Dead. We're ready to get real morbid up in this piece after talking about your recovery.
I thought it was really, really important that I had somebody tell someone in the community what was going on with me, because I knew that if I just disappeared, that for like 5-6 days, that people are going to be like, what the hell? So I told my son about you, and I told him how to get a hold of you. And I also had him get a hold of Brett, because I knew that me and Brett and Des, hello, Des. Hi, Des. That we were supposed to do a show that Monday because that is considered Twin Peaks Day. And I wasn't going to make that. So I had my son get a hold of you and Brett, because I thought it was super important that at least people know that I would never just back out on something without saying something,
For sure. Yeah, and it was, yeah, I mean, we would have been, you know, the alarm bells would have been like in way more intense if we just hadn't heard anything from you, for sure.
And thank
I've
you
even
so
there,
much for the
of
flowers,
course.
because
Oh
that
no,
was amazing. It made me feel so good to get those flowers, and it made my room smell good, and everybody commented on how awesome they were. So I was really happy to get those.
of course. Yeah, right away I was like, we just got to do something. Just let her know she's, or you know, we're thinking of her for sure. And yeah,
That
and
was
just
amazing.
sending you guys all the love and all the best wishes, of course. Yeah, it's got to be, I can only imagine, but it's got to be very, very scary. So
It
yeah,
was.
we are so happy that you're back. We are pumped to talk about Evil Dead. Are you pumped to talk about Evil Dead?
Oh yes. Oh
Okay.
yes.
We're
Oh yes.
guys, we're gonna get into the whole thing. We finished off with you know, Army of Darkness, and then I mean, speaking of darkness, there was like what, Army of Darkness was what, 93, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's 20 years until we get our next entry in the Evil Dead franchise. And for a while, I remember reading for years before, you know, this version of Evil Dead got announced that they were going to do a remake. There were like these rumors that like Ashton Kutcher was going to play Ash. And I was like, you know, at the time, I think I was in my like 20s, and I was like, oh no, like this is going to be like, how can anyone play Ash? Like, there's no way that this can work.
Ashton Kutcher. What?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, maybe he could pull something off, but I'm really glad they went, you know, the direction that they ended up going with Evil Dead 2013. Let me bring up our cool little banner there. Because in a sense, like the way that they, you know, a lot of people call this movie a remake. That's kind of how it was marketed. It has almost the same name. It just dropped off the. That's all they dropped off. But now that we've got a little bit more of a kind of like a universe here with Evil Dead, now the way that we look at this film is more of a follow-up, like a sequel that takes place within the same universe, but there's a different version of the book. But it's yeah, and very, very similar to, you know, the way things play out in the original film. What were your, like, you know, once the, I don't know how much, you know, back in 2013, if you were paying attention as movie news dropped, I was still going to darkhorizons.com quite a bit for my movie news back then. What were, like, how are you feeling as news came out about this movie, and then we started seeing teaser material and everything like that? What were your feelings on Evil Dead 2013 before we were able to see the picture?
Well, at first I thought it was going to be a straight up remake. So I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if they should remake that movie, because there's some things that you just shouldn't touch. And Ash is played so well by Bruce Campbell that I can't imagine anybody else playing that character. Also, I was like, I don't know. I'm tired of all of these remakes at the time, because there had been a lot of remakes throughout the early 2000s. And I was like, I'm tired of all these remakes. I'm not sure I want to see it. And I didn't see it in the theater. I waited for that one to come out on HBO or whatever, Showtime, Stars. I had all of them because my cousin, she worked at the cable company, and she got me a deal. So I had like 28 different movie stations to watch at all times for a long time. And it was fun while it lasted. But that's how come I have so much information and memory about all of these movies that we talk about all the time, because I saw them over and over and over and over again. And not just the ones in the 2000s, but like even before that, when I was a kid or a teenager, my parents, you know, my mom, she had HBO or Showtime or one or the other at every time. So, or see, this is what I'm talking about. My brain gets all mixed up. My mouth.
When I go live, I forget.
Keep up with.
I forget everything when I go live. I forget, like, I'm like in real life, I can sit there and name the most inconsequential performer from what a movie I've only seen once. And then I go live and I'm like, what are these people's names? No, you're all good.
No, I forgot what I was talking about. Anyway,
you were talking about being able to see all these movies because your mom had HBO and you got to see all these movies over and over growing up.
Right. And that is how I saw Evil Dead 2013, was through HBO or one of those channels. And when I first watched it, I was not expecting much. I had heard that the final person was going to be a woman this time, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I wasn't sure. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. And I'm not one who goes out and like seeks out a lot of information before watching something, except for something like Twin Peaks, which that's its own thing. But I watched it and I was blown away. I mean, it was brutal. It was mean-spirited. It was gory. There was so much going on in it, and I didn't mind that they changed the story up at all. Once I realized it wasn't really a remake, that it was a reboot, it didn't bother me that they changed it. I was like, okay, take me for a ride. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Take me for a ride. And boy, oh boy, did it take me for a ride. And that poor guy, that opened up the book and read from it, he gets totally messed up over and over and over and over again throughout that movie. And it is brutal, but it is awesome.
He might end up getting it the worst. What is his name's Eric? I think it's Eric, right?
Eric, I think, yeah.
And so many people are like, I hate that guy. He's such a dumb character, but it's like, it completely makes sense. He's a teacher. He says early on that he doesn't, you get the idea he doesn't really believe in like spirituality, or that world, that kind of world exists within our own world. So it totally makes sense that his inquisitive mind and his, like, lack of belief in anything that isn't, tangible right in front of you, that he just thinks this is like a curiosity. So even though it's wrapped in a black bag and covered in barbed wire, he's just like, whatever, this is just a discovery, and it's my job as an intellectual to see what I can make of this thing.
Never ever open up something that's wrapped up in a black bag and covered with barbed wire. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, especially if you find it in a room filled with dead cats, just back off. Just put it in the fire. Although I guess they find that doesn't even work. I do want to say really quick, I want to say a couple hellos to some people that have come on in. We got Adrian James made his way in. We got Sebastian. We've got Erica, one of our Death Squad mods. And we've got Shay Rants. Welcome on in, guys. Hope you're doing well.
Shay, you're up late. What are you doing?
I know. It's got to be it's crazy late there.
Yeah.
How they're like 8 hours ahead. So it's the middle of the night out there across the pond. We also have Sergeant Shitty Pickle. Welcome on in, Shitty. Appreciate you. Yeah, this one was like, I think when I heard that Fede was directing it, I went back and watched, he did like a short that's like an alien invasion short, I think, that he had made, that kind of caused like a bit of a stir. I think it was only like 10 minutes long or 15 minutes long. So I went and checked that out. I can't really remember much about it now. It's been so long since I've watched it, but I just wanted to get an idea of like who this guy was. And then of course, after they, another reason why they brought Fede on as well is because his story, I think it was the only story that didn't have Ash in it. So that was one of the things that the producers really liked, that they weren't, having to dive back into that, because I think they knew that would be really difficult grounds with the fans, if to do Ash and have it not be Bruce. And then they brought in Diablo Cody to touch up the script. She had gotten famous for working on Juno, and I'm sure there were other movies that I just can't think of right off the top of my head, but I know they wanted to make the movie feel a little modern, so they had her touch up the script, and I think that worked. I think the script is one of the, I don't even think about the script with this movie. It's so perfect. And like you said, mean-spirited. There's some like shit said in this movie that's just like, all right, we're getting damn near The Exorcist kind of levels of vulgarity.
Yes. And the mean-spiritedness, when I say that, what I mean is like how absolutely, they kept with the spirit of the original movie, because the original movie was so gory and full of, blood and kind of just creepy, mean things, you know, for the time anyway. It kind of seems human to me now, but you know, we all get desensitized after a while. But I thought that it was super mean-spirited because of the brutality of the injuries. The language is too, but the brutality of the injuries was just mind-blowing. I loved it.
It definitely is a movie that, you know, it's my second favorite in the franchise to the original because it's the most like the original. And I found that as I go on in my fandom with this series, I do enjoy Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, and we'll get to the TV show, which I enjoyed as well. But I do like the more like serious tone, or just the darker, like, you know, I like that mean-spirited nature. I think that's something about the Deadites that I really enjoy, that they not only do they love inflicting creative pain, but they love taunting, you know, the people that are left behind, or the people that haven't been possessed as of yet. Real quick though, before we forget, we got to talk about the opening. I mean, the cold opening to this movie is, I think, one of the best. And sometimes I think, I don't know if people forget it when they just talk about cold openings to horror movies in general, because I mean, there are so many. There's, you know, the Friday the 13th remake, the Dawn of the Dead remake. Are they all remakes? There's got to be some really good cold openings in some of the original classics, but the opening to this film is like, you get a little, they basically they let you know, hey guys, this is the tone we're going for. Like, this movie's gonna be fucked up, so buckle in, you know. What are your thoughts on the opening? Or I don't know. I remember being like, at that point, I want to stand up in my chair and shout. Like, I knew the movie was going to be good just from the opening.
I remember loving the opening, but I don't remember details about the opening right now because I didn't rewatch 2013. I thought I had it fresh enough in my mind to remember it, but I guess maybe I should have rewatched it a little bit.
That's okay. So yeah, I mean, the cold opening is basically
does a sentence.
Yes,
there.
Yes. And then and Shitty Pickle is like, oh, this just got interesting. Yeah. It's a quote, Shitty. Don't get too excited.
Yeah, I don't really remember the opening that much, but I definitely need to refresh myself on that movie. I did watch pieces of it so that I could refresh my memory on some of the events in it. But it's been a long time since I've sat down and actually watched the whole thing, and I really should have. But I wanted to get the TV show out of the way and Rise out of the way, because Rise was one I hadn't seen yet, so I was looking forward to seeing that.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I watched Rise for my Mother's Day video, but yeah, I haven't seen Rise is the one I've seen the least, I would say. I mean, other than the TV show, but I remember enough of the TV show. I did watch a little something as like a recap, as a refresher. But the opening of this one, of Evil Dead 2013, I mean, it starts out, essentially, there's like a girl in the woods, and she's like running and hiding in the woods. And she gets like hit on the head, bags thrown over her head. Like, yeah, tied up by some hillbilly guys, and you're like, what the hell's going on here?
And you think that she's the victim.
Yeah, for sure. And then, cut to, she's tied to a post. Yeah, she's tied to a post. So you're basically seeing the end of an event, which I think is a really great way to start a movie, is like, all right, here's how bad this can get at the very, very end of this group of people dealing with what they've unleashed from the book. So yeah, in the opening, we cut to her tied up to a post in a basement. There's a woman that, you know, like I'm just going to call her a witch, just for lack of a better word, you know, just somebody that really understands the Necronomicon, and she's saying her spells and everything. And the girl's father is basically put in a spot where he's got to, you know, burn her up and kill her. And, you know, because she's become possessed, she starts asking, like, where's mom at? And he's like, you know, like, you killed her. And stuff just gets really intense. You know, they light her on fire. She's screaming. The dad blows her head off. And then we cut to that amazing title card, just with that, like, you know, a chorus of voices. Just an amazing. I love those kinds of openings. You know, Evil Dead Rise kind of did a similar thing, as far as, you know, sort of shocking you with a little, they're in Evil Dead Rise at bookends and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I love this opening. I just think it sets the tone. And, from there we meet our, cast of characters, and they kind of did, I thought it was creative, how they put them out in the woods. It wasn't just that they were going out to hang out. Like, what do you think about that? The fact that we find out that there's a purpose to it, and it's not just kids going out to a cabin.
That's crazy. I was going to ask you the same thing. I thought it was brilliant to have it as them trying to intervene or do an intervention with their drug addicted friend is amazing. That was a great reason to put them there. And I also like that it makes them vulnerable because, if you got an addiction of some kind, you are a little weaker. So a demon can get in there, a demon can have an effect on you the more vulnerable you are. And I really liked that aspect. I thought it was great. And I liked the relationship between Jane Levy, which I can't remember her name in the movie, and her brother.
Mia,
that's it.
Mia and David.
David, that's right. Yeah. I really liked the relationship between them, and I liked that they brought a nurse in case something happened, and it was actually brilliant. So I liked it.
No mention of cell phones. The only indication we have of what year it could be is just from the vehicles. So it looks like it takes place. It looks like it's a modern movie, but they just don't. No one's ever like, oh, I can't get a signal, or no one's ever looking at a phone, which I just think is a great thing to do in horror, unless the phone is actually like worked into the story and a part of the story.
Right.
But not to just bring it out to say you don't have a signal. That's the stupidest thing. But yeah, I do like the relationship with David and Mia it's really complex, right? I mean, recently they've lost their mother. Seemingly she had dementia or some sort of illness like that ultimately ended up, resulting in her losing her life. And David wasn't there for the funeral. He wasn't there for Mia. It sounds like they were really close beforehand, but it also sounds like in a way he just needed to get away from, he couldn't deal with what was happening to their mother. And Mia ends up basically having to pick up the pieces and do everything. So, maybe they don't really allude to this in the movie, but maybe that's one of the reasons why she's suffering from this addiction problem, is she's trying to cope because she didn't have anybody there. But then also when shit starts to go down and she starts seeing things and experiencing things that no one else is either, believing or seeing or ready to acknowledge, you do see that look from David when he's, after she has like her freak out, where he's sort of, you can tell he's like, oh no, like what happened to mom is happening to Mia, so it's this whole like, so he extra is resistant to believe that there's something supernatural going on. So I think, yeah, you're right. The way they set up the relationship, the way they set them up in the cabin, it's perfect for shit to go down, but for it almost like simmers and then it's boiling all of a sudden. There's not really an intermediary. It like simmers, and then as soon as Mia gets the little slug worm up in her and gets back in the cabin, like they're already fucked. Like there's no way none of those people are going to make it out.
Right.
And
when she ran off into the woods, I was like, oh no, she's going to get tree banged.
Yeah. What's going to happen. They did it a little bit differently, but it's very similar and not too dissimilar from, what ends up happening in Rise. There's something similar that happens as well. So this is a running theme. It's not just the first movie in the franchise that literally puts the evil inside of you. And credit to Fede Alvarez. I don't know if any of you guys have listened to like the commentary on this film, but he really did. He wanted like real exasperation from her, so he would make her run in circles like before they would start shooting. And then there's even that shot where she is like running in circles, or walking very fast in circles in front of the cabin. I think that's before she takes the keys and tries to get away, essentially. But yeah, it's before we move on too quickly here, let's talk about the other characters. We talked about Eric, who's like, he's also like, fuck you, David. A lot of them are kind of like, fuck you, David.
Yeah.
You know, because they know that he wasn't really there either, and he hasn't been there through Mia's addiction or anything like that. David's girlfriend is the nurse, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so she's the nurse, and then the poor girl that's dating Eric's girlfriend is the nurse. David is dating, he's brought in this new chick, and this poor girl, like,
girl.
what? Yeah, she's the character that's, you know, fleshed out the least out of all of them. It just seems like she's almost there just to be emotionally supportive of David, because he probably knows that he's walking into a shitstorm regardless of whether or not there's a Necronomicon.
Cutting off her limb though to try to stop the possession.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was for a smaller character. That's pretty badass.
No, I think she turns into like the best Deadite. I think she's got the best. She is the best Deadite in the movie. She cuts off her own arm, and that snap that you hear when she actually goes through the bone. Like, it's a really great, and that's like a practical effect where they had her like hide her arm in the cabinet, and then they put a fake arm like on it so she could actually cut through that thing. There are digital effects and like digital touch-ups and stuff in this movie, but there is so much of it is practical, and I think that's another reason why I really enjoy like the look and feel of this movie, because it does feel very visceral. And then later on, she's taking the nail gun to her head. That whole sequence there, when she's like putting nails in her skull, and then everything she does as a Deadite, she breaks Eric's hand with the crowbar, and it just like splits it like butterflies. Oh, it's so nasty. I'm talking too much. You talk, Jamie. Who's your favorite Deadite in this film?
She has to be, because the fact that she's such a small character, yet she does some pretty like intense things that I wouldn't expect a smaller character to do. I mean, like in all the other movies, the smaller characters, you know, they get messed up and stuff, but they're small. Yeah. She literally cuts her, she's got balls. She cuts her arm right off. Boom. Yeah. And then she's totally sadistic. And yeah, you're right with Eric and that. Oh, that was gross. It was disgusting. Yeah. But I like that, because I wouldn't watch it if I didn't.
No, he gets, man, he takes some cracks like right in the skull. It is just like, it feels very real the way they even move the camera with the action a little bit. It just it feels so brutal and so tough. And yeah, anytime watching somebody get like massive like head trauma, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like in the bathroom scene in Halloween 2018. Like Duder getting his head just banged against the wall like numerous times. I don't know what it is about that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can, like, it just seems like immediately you'd be in like brain damage territory. You'd be, you know, pretty much out of it. And then, yeah, she gets, I think David blows her arm off with the shotgun.
Oh,
I think that's what happens. And then she does, of course, the Deadites do the whole thing where they play with the non-possessed. She like, you know, looks as if she's not possessed anymore.
Oh, that's classic. Damn. That's a classic Evil Dead move. I love it.
Like, why does my face hurt? I think that's what she says when she has like all the nails in it. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
We've got Sebastian is wondering, and guys, I know we're just sort of like randomly talking about the movie. I didn't structure it with like, you know, what kind of points we would hit, because I figured, you know, we would get into it with you guys as well. So Sebastian wants to know what's one thing you would change about this movie?
I
wouldn't kill the dog. It made me so sad.
Yeah,
she kills Grandpa. She kills Grandpa the dog, or at least we're led to believe that.
I think I would want Jane Levy to keep her hand. Doesn't she cut off her hand, or something happens, like the car falls on her hand, or
she like pulls it off basically. It like she like she pops it off. I think she loses it at the elbow pretty much.
Yeah, I could have done without that. I could have done without that.
But they've got I figure they're
not so brutal, or maybe positive happen at the end. But
yeah.
what can I say?
Well, I mean, I guess the positive thing with her is that she actually does, defeat the evil inside of her. That the evil like turns into something else. Like we've never really seen. Ash loses, like in Evil Dead 2, Ash gets possessed and then is able to lose it. But then in Army of Darkness, that seed of evil that was inside of him turns into evil Ash. So it's almost like you have to birth this extra entity. And I didn't like when they end up like David buries her and then brings her back to life. That like killing her is like the one thing that, could save her.
That was amazing.
Ultimately, the evil is still inside of her, or at least it manifests itself in a different way. So yeah, I figured she had to go through that damage. But yeah, Sebastian, I guess I wouldn't kill the dog. I don't know. I don't know if the movie's perfect. I can't think of anything really wrong with it.
I don't like changing other people's art. That's why I have a hard time like hating on things. I don't hate on a whole lot of movies. I normally am the one who's saying, I love this movie or I love that movie. But there is every once in a while something will come out and I'll be like, that's freaking terrible. Like Skinamarink. Oh my God. I hate that movie so much. I can't even tell you.
I've never seen it.
Don't.
I've heard good things and then I've heard bad things. Same with It Follows. I know you don't like that one either.
Oh, it's a different thing with It Follows because I think it's my age. I felt like that movie was not made for me. I felt like that movie is made for younger kids who are just starting out in the sex world or whatever, and they don't know much about it. And so for them, it's like an awesome thing thinking about this thing following them around after they have sex or whatever. But to me, that's stupid. I was like, this is stupid. So,
so maybe it's something that's just it's better made for teens or early 20-somethings.
I think so, because it doesn't fit with my generation. I come from Gen X and we didn't look at things like that. And
you weren't scared of sex. You just,
Oh, no, I wasn't ever. No, it was like I already knew what to do to protect myself from a sexually transmitted disease. So the idea of this thing following me around, it bothered me. I was bothered by her little whatever that.
I haven't seen it yet. So don't.
Oh, I forgot.
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard good things, but I haven't seen it yet. Okay.
You should watch that.
I will.
Don't watch Skinamarink though. It's not worth your time. You'll just get a headache.
Okay. Sebastian says he wants David to survive because that's sort of like you think that they're both gonna make it. When he brings her back, and then he's like, I'm just gonna go back in the cabin and grab the keys or whatever, and then Eric, who is like we already said was put through the ringer. I mean, he's like patching up stab wounds on his chest with duct tape. And at this point, remember, you know what I'm talking about? When they're in the little work shed and it's just gushing and they just like patch him up. And at that point, he is one of the first ones to say like, whatever I unleash from that book, like it's coming for us. It's not going to
everything. Duct tape can fix anything. Even a hole in your chest. It was amazing. Yeah. I loved that part. So
and so I think David goes back to get the keys, and Eric, Deadite Eric, walks into frame and stabs him in the neck with the wire cutters. Just and you're finished at that point. I mean, what can you do? Like when you get stabbed in the neck, I real life or a movie, I don't care what. Like you're just ain't gonna make it. So. What do you think of that? Did you want David to survive, or are you okay? I'm okay with it because it's Evil Dead, so I didn't expect anyone to survive.
Right. I was okay with it, but he does have a point. It would have been nice to see the brother survive and the brother and sister get out of there together. That would have been kind of cool and a little bit different. But that's not what they want to give us with Evil Dead. So I was okay with what they gave us. And speaking of Eric, I thought that he was. Not only was he you know, the catalyst for all of this happening. But he also, at the same time, I think realized it. So he seemed a little bit heroic at times. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like he was heroic at times, coming out after you think he's dead. He comes out and he does something. I can't remember exactly what it was. I just remember thinking, oh, I thought he was dead. I'm so glad to see that he's not dead. And he's actually helping his friends, you know?
Yeah,
I thought that was good.
I could be wrong, but I think he does rescue David from the like the well. He's getting like, I don't know. Gosh, I guess it may. I guess I do need to watch this one again too. Maybe it's been about a year. I try to watch it every year, but I may be kind of messing up the order of things here. But yeah, I do think that once the shit hits the fan, like everyone does a pretty good job at being proactive. I will say that in this movie, it's not so much of like, you know, in the first movie where Ash can't stop, like, you know, running into bookshelves and having them fall on him and stuff like that. Like everyone sort of takes it seriously as soon as everything goes down. And I guess, you know, we can move on to Ash versus Evil Dead here in a minute, but we got to talk about the tongue splitting scene. You know, Des had mentioned it earlier. There was the "Why don't you come down here so I can suck your cock, pretty boy."
Yeah.
I think she says something too, like, "I can smell your." I don't even know if I can say it on YouTube. I want to get the line absolutely correct. I know somebody in the chat will. If you think of it, say it in the chat. That's probably better than me saying it on YouTube.
I can't remember the line, but I kind of remember something along those lines.
Oh, she says, "Kiss me, you dirty cunt."
Okay.
And you know, like Mia, like Deadite Mia is just so filthy, and I think a brilliant move that this movie made was making the final girl also like the main Deadite, like combining those two entities essentially. Like I thought that was pretty damn brilliant and something I certainly wasn't expecting. Like something I didn't see coming at all.
I like that they took the whole thing a lot more serious. The tone is way more serious and way more brutal than the other Evil Dead. And Evil Dead has always had that, you know, comedy aspect. But I was glad that one didn't do that because I wanted to see something different. And I'm glad. I actually think he should make a sequel.
I would love to see. Yeah. I mean, have Fede come back and have Jane come back as well.
Yes. I want to see what happened to her. You know, I'd love to see that.
I think the most brilliant thing that they did with Rise by saying that, hey, these 3 books exist in the same universe is that technically you could meld all of the worlds. Like they could have like a Evil Dead War movie where you bring in Ash, Mia, and what's her face from Rise? Gosh, Beth, who survives in Rise. And you have them all like fight this, you know, crazy like Armageddon Deadite war on Earth kind of thing. I know that Bruce is probably not going to come back, but I think they could get him to come back if they did something like that. But yes, I'm right there with you. I think Jane Levy wants to come back to the franchise.
I would love that. Sounds like I love her. She's awesome. Yeah, everything I've seen her in it, she's awesome. Yeah.
She's incredible, and she's not just, you know, this movie. She's really great in Don't Breathe. What is that? Zoe's Infinite Playlist, that TV show she was in. I never saw that show, but I've seen little like bits and pieces where people cover it on YouTube and stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, look at her, like doing something totally different than anything I've ever seen her in, and she looks adorable and seems like a top-notch performer. In fact, she's
a great actress, seriously.
Yeah,
I think she's great.
On the Blu-ray for this movie, for Evil Dead 2013, there is like some behind-the-scenes stuff where she's like, I really am having a tough time. Like I'm like I can't sleep because the movie is so intense, and the hours that I like, the subject matter that we're covering, the hours that I'm working, like she really was having a tough time. I think that all like is a benefit to the production overall, though.
So much blood and dirt, you know.
Yes,
I wouldn't have liked that either, but you know, you got to do what you got to do for your art. So
yeah, you got to get buried in the dirt too.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're just gonna bury you in the dirt. You know, you'll be fine. Yeah, we do need the team up. Ash, Mia, and Beth. Let's see here.
Matt Arnett says, "I can smell your Bermuda Triangle." That's so funny.
Oh, what a great euphemism there. Oh,
I know.
babe, I want to get lost in that Bermuda Triangle, girl.
That's
Come on.
Hilarious. I love that. That was good.
Yeah, there a couple of those moments really stood out. The filthy talk in this movie I greatly appreciated, because we just we don't really see, for whatever reason, people are afraid to make ugly characters ugly in movies. It's like, it seems like Tarantino's like the only one that's willing to do that now that George Romero isn't around anymore. So it's always yeah, it's refreshing to see, because people like that exist. So you don't, if you take them out of movies, if you sanitize even bad guys in movies, then it's like, you know, what are we doing? It's just not very, I don't know. To me, it's not as exciting. And yeah, it's just one of those things I don't really dig. What's happening, Brooke?
Hey, Brooke.
How are you doing? One of our great Death Squad mods. And guys, Brooke just became a grandmama. So everyone give her some love.
Yay!
I can hardly believe it, but I guess that, you know, I'm like, you're too young to be a grandma. But I'm like, well, I had people that I went to high school with that had kids when we were sophomores, and they were grandparents in their late 30s. So I guess too young to be a grandma is, you know, you'd have to be pretty young these days. But it would just be a compliment, Brooke. You look great. You don't look grandma age, but congratulations to you and your fam.
Brooke, I seriously thought you were in like your 20s or 30s. I thought you were like in your like late 20s, early 30s. That's, your picture is amazing. You don't look that old at all.
Yeah, no, and Blake says gilf. There you go. Can always count on Blake for the good comments here. Okay, so is there anything we're missing from Evil Dead 2013? Guys, let us know in the chat before we move on and talk about Ash versus
I do want to mention that
Evil
I don't
Dead.
like the new book. I didn't like the new book, the look of the new book. I like the old book with the face, you know.
Yeah, that's my preferred version. Yeah, I want to look at the... Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're... Let me bring up the pictures here. So yeah, it's just stitched together skin.
Yeah, and it just it seemed a little bit boring. I was like, oh, I'm not sure. That could be the only thing that I really have to complain about, is that I really think that the book wasn't really creative enough, and the original book is so creative. They could have done something better, I think. Yeah.
I do like the inside of the book. I love the idea of and thank you for bringing up the book, because yeah, we didn't even talk about it at all.
Right.
I wonder, do you think that they made it look different on purpose because they had this idea like, hey, what if this movie's a hit? We don't want to box you know, the series in and try to make it seem like it's the same exact book. Do you think that it was done with purpose, or just done to be different? Or out of laziness?
I think it was done with purpose. I think it was done with purpose. They might have thought it was cool, you know. I think they just wanted to do their own thing, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. But I personally, I really like the old book so much, and I hope to someday have one back here. You know, when I go to Scarefest, I'm going to be on the lookout for something like that, because Scarefest has a lot of really fun, unique booths. And like the one year they had the Freddy phone with the tongue coming out, and I was like,
nice.
I want to get it. And then I didn't get it, and I regret it, you know, because now they probably won't be there again. So
those are the things that keep you up at night, you know?
Yeah.
Those are the moments you just can't have back, Jamie.
Yeah. I mean, I love my memorabilia.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
I've kept... I was upset about that.
I've got my, like, the old, I don't know if it was Scream Factory or if it was Anchor Bay that put out that old DVD of Evil Dead where they put it out in the book. And I've kept that thing, like, in a container. I know a lot of people, I've seen videos where, like, people keep it out and it falls apart. Like, I've kept mine in a container and it's held up pretty well. But at some point, you know, because of what they made it from, whatever kind of silicone they made it from, it's probably gonna go by the wayside. But I do really like with this book in 2013. I love how they work in. There is like a really cool bit of lore, whereas in the original they just have to go by Professor Nobi's audio recordings, whereas in this one they have like the different ways that you can kill the Deadites, and then we see all of those methods of death like represented in the film. So I thought that was like kind of a cute little thing that they worked in there with their book here in 2013. And yeah, I mean, real quick, because we kind of covered it a little bit, but yeah, even though they advertise this movie as like a reboot or a remake or whatever, now that we know what we know from Rise with 3 different versions of the book, not only that, but you also see Ash's car in the background, all covered in moss and everything like that. We know that this is just a different experience within the same universe. So technically a sequel, I would say. Evil Dead 2013, it's just a sequel that has a very similar name, just like Halloween 2018 is a sequel and not a remake. So maybe Evil Dead gave them that idea. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, for me, this is second favorite in the franchise. If you told me this was your favorite movie in the franchise, I couldn't hold it against you because I think it's absolutely amazing. Where does this sit for you as far as like, I'm not asking you to do a full ranking right now, but where do you think you would put this one in there?
It's third in my ranking because I like 1, 2, and then I know people are going to be upset that I don't like Army of Darkness before this one, but it's just that it was so good and so brutal and so daring, and they took so many risks with it that I have to put it at 3 because it really does. It doesn't play on the comedy so much, and Army of Darkness is more comedy than it is horror. I love it. I love it. It's great, but I see it more as comedy than horror. So I really think that I have to put it at number 3.
There you go.
But I don't blame anybody for putting it in number 1 if they do, because honestly, it's so good. And if you like that darker feel, that darker tone, I don't blame you.
Yeah, and that's, I think, like, I loved Army of Darkness when I was a kid, but it would be in the back of the ranking for me. I don't know if it would be dead last because of the lack of seriousness, but it would be in the back. And we got our guy, Gavin has just entered the chat. I think this is the only movie in the franchise that he really digs. So you came a little bit too late to hear the full discussion, Gavin, but right as we're really singing the praises here on this one, you've arrived. Welcome on in. And let's see here. Blake's got a question for you, Jamie. He says, if you had to eliminate one movie from the franchise, which one are you picking? Army? That's tough because it would suck to take it out of the trilogy. Sam Raimi put together such a nice tight trilogy: horror, comedy. Oh, but
I don't think people are going to like my answer to this, but I would take Rise out. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
I think it's easier to take out Rise than to take out Army of Darkness, because Army of Darkness is a good wrap up of Ash's story within those 3 films. So even though it might be a lesser movie, it makes Evil Dead 2 seem unfinished if you take it out.
Right.
Right. It makes that story arc just sort of fall off a cliff. Right. Although I guess you could say that they just end up hailing Ash. Hail he who was delivered from the sky to deliver us from the Deadites.
I watch Army once a year. I mean, it's every Halloween I watch Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. It like every year ever since I got them all in my collection. So I maybe will be adding Evil Dead 2013 to that list this year. And I don't know about Rise. I mean, I bought it, I have it. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Let's talk about, and this will, we'll talk about Ash versus Evil Dead. I think there's kind of like, I don't know, maybe there is a lot to say about this show. Maybe there isn't, but I liked the tone that they hit with Ash versus Evil Dead. Kind of that sweet spot of, it's got the humor of Evil Dead 2, but then I think it does lean into the gore that's like a little flashier, kind of like Evil Dead 2013. So to me, it's almost like the perfect match where it's like, it's silly, but it's also really like brutal and gory. What do you think about Ash versus Evil Dead, particularly the version of Ash that we get in here, and how they handle the humor mixed with the gore?
I would marry him.
You'd marry this version of Ash?
Oh my God, in a heartbeat. I love nothing more than a snarky man. My husband is snarky like that. So I just love snarky men. Plus, I mean, it's Bruce Campbell, and I've loved him ever since I first saw Evil Dead. So I would marry him. I love his character. I love how he's sort of a reluctant hero, but when it comes right down to it, when he realizes that he has to take up the reins and be a hero, he does it with awesome vigor, and I love it. I love it so much.
But when we meet him at the beginning of the show, he's the shitbaggiest he's ever been, right? He really is just like, you know, banging the lowest of the low chicks at the bar that he can get, you know, putting on his girdle and everything. I mean, the way that the Deadites come back into this universe in this TV show, just in case you guys haven't seen it, spoiler alert, he pulls the book out and reads from it to impress like a one-night stand when he's like drunk and high.
Yeah, because she wants to hear some poetry. It's hilarious.
Yeah. She gets turned on by his Book of the Dead reading. But yeah, you do get that he's not quite Army of Darkness. He's like in between Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 Ash. You know what I mean? Right. He's got that cockiness. He's not quite as silly as he is in you know, in Army of Darkness. And man, what they do with the gore here, I mean, kudos to Starz for just letting them make an unrated television show, because each one of these seasons is 3 or 10 episodes long. So it's like 5 hours. You basically get, you know, 2.5 movies out of each season. And especially that first episode of the second season where he's in the morgue. Right? Is that what it is? The first episode of the second season?
I think
it's one of the most.
I think it might be the second episode, but I thought that was the funniest thing. I laughed for like 10 minutes over that, because he's doing, it kind of reminded me of Evil Dead 2 in a way, because of the way that he's going, oh no, I don't want to go up there, and he's going
he's like, I'm in the butt, I'm in the butt.
And this penis is, it's, first of all, it's not circumcised, and second of all, it's got a piercing and it's bouncing up and off his face, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I thought that was so funny. I laughed for like 10 minutes. I just love that scene so much. I might even just go later on, just go watch that scene.
It is funny. when you get to that scene, you're like, oh, and that's in the beginning of the second season. You're just like, oh shit, they're already upping the ante from what they did in the first season. And that's just, I don't know, that's what I come to, or that's what I come for when I watch the Evil Dead franchise, because and it's not just specifically the fact that it's like you know, cock and balls and gross or anything. I just want the boundaries to be pushed and stretched out. And you know, that's what that scene does. Literally, they stretch it out. Ash gets up there. It gets super silly. It gets really gross. But that's what I want from Evil Dead. And when we get to Rise, I'll bring that back up, because I just felt like Rise didn't push things further. So I'm really happy that they were able to in Ash versus Evil Dead. I didn't expect the TV show to do that. So
I wasn't expecting that either. And I remember the first time that I watched the show through, I was completely floored at how daring and risky it really was. And I was also worshiping Sam Raimi for it, because I don't think they take enough risks these days. And I figured, you know, hey, Sam Raimi, he's taking some big risks here with the gore and the you know, risque things he's doing. I just thought it was brilliant, and I love the show. I love it. I don't love it as much as Twin Peaks, but it is the only other show that I own in full. So
there you go, folks.
That says
there you
something.
go.
Yeah.
I do think Fight the Good Fight. I do think it's worth a buy. If you're a really big fan of the Evil Dead, I think it's absolutely worth a buy. It takes, it adds to the lore. It takes some really fun twists and turns each season. They've got kind of like a different big bad, but you still have an overarching story that's weaved together. They kind of have to wrap it up quick towards the end because they probably realized about halfway through the final season that they weren't going to be renewed for another. So I feel like there is a little bit of a rush to the end, but Dana DiLorenzo, who plays Kelly, and Ray Santiago, who plays Pablo, it is so tough to find performers that can stand their ground with somebody like Bruce Campbell and just a character like Ash, like that bravado. Those two characters, like, not only do they hold their own weight throughout the series, they are arguably two of the best characters in the entire franchise.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I
Kelly,
love Dina DiLorenzo. She's awesome. Her wardrobe is amazing in that show. Her character arc is also amazing because she goes from being like, I don't want to accept this. I don't want my parents to be, deadites or whatever. And she was totally in denial of it, to go into like complete badassery. And usually the voice of reason in the group, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, and she's got a great filthy mouth. It's super hilarious, like how many fucks she drops. She has some of the best hair I've ever seen. Guys, I talk about hair maybe a bit too much on the channel here, but oh my God, Dana DiLorenzo's hair in this show, she is smoking. Like, she is an absolute smoke show. One of the hottest characters in horror, I think. I certainly wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. I don't know. How about you?
Probably not. If I was that way.
And Ray is totally ripped too. I'm nothing against Ray. He's great. He's awesome. I love his hair. He does have a nice little pompadour kind of thing. Their dynamic between those three characters is great. Like, Ash does start to care about other people in the show, and it never gets too serious. There's always like a joke or something to undercut the serious nature of what they're dealing with. Blake, I would say that The Evil Dead is the best demonic possession franchise. I like non-religious demonic possession movies more just because they seem to be sillier, and I like that about them.
It's definitely the most fun, but my favorite possession movie is Amityville Horror 2 and will always be Amityville Horror 2. It doesn't focus on the religion. It doesn't focus on it. It's there, but it doesn't focus on it. And the performance that Kai puts in is unmatchable. And I think if you haven't seen Amityville Horror 2, you need to get it and watch it because it's amazing. And it's really hard to find on disc, so you might have to rent it or something. But is
that the one that's called The Possession?
Yeah.
It's Amityville 2, The Possession? Okay.
I got to interview the girl from that movie. Why can't I think of her name? Diane Franklin.
I love Diane Franklin. She's in Better Off Dead.
Sweet. She is such a sweet girl. She told the guys to shut up. She's like, shut up, let Jamie talk. Let the girls talk. I was like, oh, I'm gonna love you.
And that's the one that's got, what's his face? The guy that plays Paulie in the Rocky movies is in that, right?
He is awesome in it. He's so good. The whole movie is so good. Now, it's risque because of the subject matter is really, it's a little intense for some people, but I can handle that. So I can handle that. So I like it. I say watch it if you guys can. It's a great possession movie. But to get back to the Evil Dead, is Ray is played by, that's his dad, right? Is no, that
Ray Santiago plays Pablo, and then there's what's his face from, he's at the beginning of Scrooge. He's at the beginning. Why can't I think of his Lee Majors plays Ash's dad?
That's it. Thank you.
And he plays a great, yes. And he does the whole, like, he's kind of a shitbag too. So like he does a really good job of playing, like you could totally see that
it was
would be Ash's dad.
Yeah, it was believable. Yeah.
They're like going after the same girls and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was so funny. I hate the cop guy in season 2. I really just, I'm so satisfied when he dies because I hate it. Just, to me, it's a message about corruption and how, like, what can corrupt certain types, certain individuals, you know? And I like the message that sends, because it shows that, you know, or authoritarians they're willing to put aside everything just to win, you know? Sure.
And isn't he, I seem to remember, is he seeing one of the main characters in the story too?
He's married to Linda. And
gotcha.
then the daughter gets possessed and dies.
Yeah.
She was in the car when the car went crazy. I love that's another thing I was going to bring up. I love all of the homages that Evil Dead or Ash vs. Evil Dead does. There's Back to the Future. There's Christine. There's oh gosh, I can't think of them all. I had them all listed out and then I forgot. But those are the two that are on my mind because those are the last two that I saw. I have not gotten through season 3 yet. I just finished up season 2. I still have to rewatch season 3. I don't remember a lot of season 3. Because at that time, that was also when Twin Peaks season 3 was
like the
TV.
return was coming out.
And they were on almost against each other. So I would sometimes miss it. And
I think in season 3 he gets like a chance to kind of go back in time to go to like the cabin during Evil Dead 2. Because I think Pablo gets like sucked back in time, so he gets a chance to like go back and save him.
Pablo turns into the book. That's in season 2. Pablo turns into the book.
Oh man, he really gets put through it. Yeah, he really gets put through it.
Special effects are incredible. I love the special effects, and I want that puppet in my collection.
The puppet's great. Yeah, the puppet's great.
Awesome.
Is it season 1 where they go to Pablo's uncle's place? He's like the shaman. Is that the end of season 1?
Yep.
Okay. Because that's when they work in this, like the lore really gets built up to like, this is something that like, you know, other cultures have known about, like how to deal with, and they've got their own, you know, way of trying to work around it. We get introduced to Ruby, played by Lucy Lawless, who's absolutely incredible in this show. I think she's still married to Rob Tappert, who's been the producer like since the very beginning. I don't know if they met like during Xena or whatever, but she is great in this show, and she's to play amazing. Like multiple versions of herself.
Yes.
Where she's tied into like
80s version. I love her hair. It's so
cool,
hair.
Yeah, like she's the good version of herself. Yeah. Because she also plays like
make too about I like the jokes they make about her height and how she's really tall and, you know, like warrior looking, because they make a joke about her being Amazonish, and I thought that was kind of funny considering she's Xena. So
Xena produced by the same people. Real quick here, Brett's dropping in that a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Brett. Says Samara Weaving is in the show as well. She's like in and out really quick, huh?
Yeah, she's so good though. She's memorable. Her whole arc, you know, it's just one episode, but it's amazing. She gets possessed. It's great. She was really good in it.
Really good and smoking hot.
Yeah, she looks pretty. Yeah.
Pretty all right. We got Nick Poosh, his horror channel in the chat. What's happening, Nick? One of our great channel members.
Hey, Nick.
And yeah, I want to say what's up to Piz. What's going on, Piz? Hope you're doing well, my guy. Looking forward to seeing you over on Facci Cinema to talk about Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. I know you really dig that one. So really looking forward to that episode. And yes, this just in, JAMI hates the police. Not all first responders. The people that flew her to the hospital, they're great.
Yes.
They're great. It's just the authoritarian police.
Right. Luckily, police did not take me in custody to go to the hospital for my stroke. That was definitely some EMTs or something.
Yeah. They would have fumbled the bag. Yeah. There we go. We just hit that up. Yeah, she's in the show for, I think she comes in end of the first season, but then she's in it pretty much throughout from there.
And she's good. She's a great character. I like her exposition with Ash. I also like the fact that in season 2 they work together. I like seeing that side of her. It's really sad that the older Ruby gets killed and that the younger Ruby takes over, because I kind of like the whole thing that they were all working together, and they kind of took that away for season 3. So I was a little bit upset over that, but yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. I like seeing that too. Like the show kind of keeps you guessing as far as all that goes. Not really knowing which way she's leaning exactly. And yeah, I think for, guys, if you haven't seen this show, you got to check it out. I mean, especially if you're, whether or not you're a fan, I think, of the more serious side or the sillier side, like you get both in the TV show. Ted
Every
Raimi
opening
shows up here.
Every opening to every single episode is amazing. And it goes with it kind of reminds me of comic books, just the animation of the blood going on the screen. It always ends up with somebody getting bloodied, and blood would go up on the screen, and then it says Ash versus Evil Dead. It's got this great music. It's awesome. You guys should totally watch it. Yeah.
It's absolutely worth a watch. And I only wish that it had a more kind of definitive ending. I think it's a running theme you see with a lot of shows that have cult status, or either the property has cult status or gets that popularity later, is that you never really had a satisfying conclusion. Not every show is like Buffy the Vampire Slayer that has a pretty satisfying ending, when all said and done.
I gotta blame Twin Peaks for that, because
it might be.
I don't know what I don't want to spoil anything, but it doesn't finish in season 2. It ends on a cliffhanger. And that was the first time ever that I'd seen any show like that end on a cliffhanger. And the reason why was because David Lynch was hoping that it would inspire them to continue the show. But unfortunately, that's not how it went down. And a lot of people were really disappointed. And we'll talk about that when we talk about that. But
well, and it's Matt brought this up earlier. He says, I didn't have stars, but was able to find a reputable site that had all the episodes, so I got to watch it. And that's something that Bruce Campbell talked about pretty openly as well, is that not many people either knew what Stars was or had Stars. So the viewership from the first season, to the end or to the final season, is really it drops off so much for Ash versus Evil Dead. So yeah, maybe there's a little bit of that, people that want to watch Twin Peaks, if they're really head to head at that same time. But I do think that there was a certain amount of people that just I didn't have Stars. I was finding a site as well. So, I think it's one of those, it's a, double-edged sword. Stars allowed them to do whatever they wanted to do. And we ultimately got 5 more Evil Dead movies worth of show out of it. But we, didn't get the ending we wanted because the viewership wasn't there, unfortunately. Right. Now, if they did it now, it probably would have gone straight to they would probably do Netflix or Hulu or whatever. And then you wouldn't have to worry about, tuning in at a certain amount of time or buying a whole channel, just to watch the one show.
Right. But yeah,
have a great vacation, Brett.
Oh, good night, Brett. You're so sweet.
Have a good one, Matt.
Bye, Matt.
Cool. Are we ready to talk a little Evil Dead Rise, you think?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, watch Ash versus Evil Dead if you haven't already. Watch it.
Absolutely. 100%. It's worth it.
Okay. I'll let you take the floor on this one because it seems like you've been all bottled up on this one, Jamie.
So I didn't hate it. I didn't. Let's see what happens when Burn comes out, because if they're going to continue the story on, it felt unfinished to me in a way, kind of in the same way that like Halloween 2018 felt unfinished to me, or there was something that wasn't quite right about it, you know. There was something that seemed like it had to continue. I feel like that kind of was playing out in this movie a little bit. Like, I liked it. They were risky. They took risks. They killed children. That was amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I know that sounds so like morbid and everything, but I love it when they
YouTube's flagging the stream right now. They're like, they're talking bad about cops and they're talking about killing kids.
I was shocked by that because I wasn't expecting that. I went in totally blind. I did not watch a trailer. I did not look anything up about it. I've kept myself away from all of the spoilers all this time. Amazing, right? But I have. And when I went in, I didn't know what I was going to see. I loved the execution. I loved the arcs. I loved the way that the characters, I cared about the characters. I cared about the kids. And I cared about the pregnant lady. I can't remember her name right now.
That's Beth.
Oh, Beth. That's right. I cared about her. And I thought, I was hoping, you know, hey, you know, I hope she gets out of it, because I don't want to see everybody dead in the end, you know. Especially when I saw what they were doing with the children, I was like, uh-oh, this is crazy. And also, I wasn't quite sure how this all happened. Like, I guess it's set in Detroit, right? Is it set in Detroit? Is it?
I think Evil Dead Rise is supposed to be in the Los Angeles area, I think. Oh, I don't know if they tell us.
I thought it had to have been Michigan because that's where the book was, right? You know? So I figured it was something, because they're being thrown out of their building. They've only got a month to go. They don't have anywhere to go yet. It seemed run down, kind of reminded me a lot of Don't Breathe in that aspect. Like, it seemed really run down.
That's Michigan for sure, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's what made me think that. So once I realized that, I was like, okay, well, now it's a little more believable to me, because if they're in the same state, then I can see how this might have all happened. My memory.
It is LA.
It is LA?
Sorry. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know, they didn't shoot it there, but that's where they say that. I'm reading the plot. Set. Yeah, it's a condemned Los Angeles apartment complex.
Wow. Yeah. So how did the book get there? You know, it's a question I have, and I have a question.
They never explain that in any of them, though, right?
True.
Well, I guess it's Professor Noby brings the book to the cabin in the original one, so he finds it they find it in Britain, and then they bring it to the cabin.
Right.
All right. Yeah. They don't really. Sorry, go ahead. I'm not trying to derail you.
No, that's okay. Because my brain is a little bit jumbled up about it. I only remember certain things about it, and then my brain has blank spots because, you know, I may have been talking, or I may have gotten up to go to the bathroom, or I may have done something. But I did watch it. I just feel like maybe I need to watch it a couple more times, because a lot of times with me, if I don't really like something on the first watch, if I watch it a couple more times, it does start to grow on me. So I probably will watch it again and see how I feel about it after that. But I honestly felt like something is unfinished, or there's something that was missing. I can't quite figure out what, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was great. And what you said about, I did not watch your video about how it's about motherhood, but I know what you mean. because it is about motherhood. It's about the struggles of being a single mom, I think, and the struggles of, you know, what it's like to have, you know, rambunctious children running around. You got to keep them straight, you know, and keeping them straight on a straight and narrow path when you're a single mom, that's tough. And believe me, I know, because my mom was a single mom, and she had a hard time keeping me on the straight path, I'll tell you. But it really blew my mind because they took these risks. It wasn't quite as gory, I don't think, as some of the others, but it still had the gore, and it still, the killing the children just blew my mind. It really did. It blew me away. I'm still trying
to bring that back up there. More breaking news: JAMI hates children.
I don't hate children. I have one of my own. Well, sometimes I hate children. It depends if they're screaming or not. My kid was always nice and quiet. So, and I only have one. So,
it is refreshing that they do, you know, and they're like teenagers, you know, they're not too young, but they're not too old. Yeah, I mean, I think the overarching point that I was making with my Mother's Day video is that, you know, at the beginning of the movie, when Beth finds out that she's pregnant, she clearly is in a position where she's like, I don't know, like, if I can do this. Like, I don't know which way to go. I need to go see my sister and like get her advice and see like what my next step should be. Seemingly she's not, you know, in a committed relationship with the person who's the father and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that what was really great about the movie is as it went on, you know, she realizes that she is totally cut out for motherhood because she's able to make it through this horrendous event. So it's like motherhood's gonna throw all sorts of things that you can't predict, and really, you know, can be very difficult. Being a parent can be a very difficult thing, but ultimately she finds out that she is cut out for it. And then even with the mom that turns into the Deadite, she even has like moments where she's kind of the little bit of her that's in there is looking out for the kids' safety and all that kind of stuff too. So yeah, it didn't, you know, it was like the second, maybe it was after the first time I watched it, where I was like, man, this is like, not many movies have like a pro motherhood message. They'll do the whole like girl power, all that kind of stuff, but none of it is tied to one of the things that, you know, women biologically are, you know, able to do. So I thought, like, I was like, well, this movie's kind of unique. It sort of sticks its neck out there, because if I'm being frank, like, a lot of movies don't really promote like that kind of stuff nowadays. So it was really refreshing to see that, and to see it in a horror movie.
Yeah, I agree.
But you do bring up a good point about the book. How the hell did this building used to be a bank? Why is the book down there with a crucifix and whatever the hell else is down there?
Yeah, how to get there? I want to know. You got to tell me another story, because I need to know these things. But yeah, I was curious about that, and I definitely agree with you about it. It is definitely pro motherhood, and I thought that was a good part about it. I really liked it. I thought that it was executed well, and all of it was great. It's just like I said, I feel like something was missing. And maybe when Burn comes out, maybe I'll feel a little differently about it. Maybe that'll help explain or fill in something for me, the way that Kills kind of filled in. Once Kills and Ends came out, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get 2018. I didn't necessarily like 2018 all that much when I first saw it. It was okay. I said it was okay, but I didn't really love it. But now, I absolutely love it, and I love watching all 4 in a row together, because it is an amazing experience. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think with this one, like, when I first saw Evil Dead Rise, I was let down. I remember leaving the theater kind of feeling like a jerk, because I was like, shit, this is like my favorite franchise. I love everything they showed in the trailer. I was like, oh, this looks like it's going to be like balls to the wall crazy, and pretty much nothing happens that goes beyond the craziness they show you in the trailer. Like, so when you
Right.
watch the whole movie, you don't really get anything that's like really pushing it further than what they showed us. Because with the Evil Dead 2013, the marketing was really good, but then when you went and saw the movie, they pushed it so much further than the marketing looked like it was going to be. So, and I felt like Rise sort of took a step back as far as the gore and everything from what they did in 2013, and even what they did in Ash vs. Evil Dead. I feel like Rise played it a little bit safe on the gore side, which I didn't appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, it seemed like, I think when they started production on this one, when they made the film, originally it was just going to come out on like HBO Max, and I think you can see that, like, that this is a movie that maybe if it were meant for theaters from the very beginning, maybe they would have had a few more $1 million. They would have, you know, expanded on some, maybe would have pushed it a little bit further with the gore. I'm not sure. I'm curious to know if they are even going to, like, well, we'll talk about Burn here in a minute. Because yeah, I feel like we're sort of like at the age now where all of these movies, it's just going to be like anthological. Like each movie is just going to be its own thing. And the only thing that really connects them is each one of the movies now, we know there's 3 volumes of the book. So we're going to get one of the versions of the book in each one of these movies moving forward.
Right.
And, you know, we hinted at the opening earlier when we talked, you know, Evil Dead 2013 has that epic opening and that awesome title card. And this one does a pretty good job too. They sort of, I like the little bit at the very beginning. You think it's like the evil rushing through the woods or whatever, but it's just a drone. Like, I thought that was kind of a cute little just nod to like the world that we live in now.
Right.
And then I really liked how they bookend the movie with that character that becomes possessed at the beginning of the film. You know, the very end of the movie is her getting ready to like leave on that trip, because you rewind like a day after the opening. What did you think? Is that something you appreciated about the movie, like the bookend or like the opening here? Or would you have just rather we start with our main characters and just go for it from there?
No, I appreciate, like, you know, a good opening and a good bookend. I don't remember the end very well. I remember them getting out, and that's literally where it ends for me, because I don't really, I just remember feeling like there's something missing. I don't remember a lot about the opening either. I do remember the drone thing, and I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of different, you know, that's kind of cool. But I thought it was the evil at first, so I got all excited, you know, and I was like, oh crap, they fooled me, fooled you. It's just like in Spaceballs, you know.
Yes.
I thought it was good. I liked it, but it wasn't memorable enough. Like, maybe I need to see things more than one time. A lot of times, like I said to you before, when I have all these memories and information about movies, it's mostly because I've seen things over and over and over and over and over again, and I was able to memorize things about it. And also because when I do look up information, I tend to soak it in. But this one, I don't know. I wanted to like it more than I did. And I'll give it another shot and see what I think about it. But at this point, I really, if I was going to give it a score, I'd give it a 2 hearts, you know?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because I score in hearts.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And I feel like I've enjoyed it. Like, I've gained an appreciation for it on subsequent viewings. Like, I've, you know, either certain things I know, you know, there are elements, all the stuff that happens in the hallway kind of reminds me of Evil Dead 2. I think that's like a pretty good nod to that like tone that they hit in that movie in the franchise.
I feel like the hallway scene is like one of the best scenes in the movie, because it's one I remember. And I remember being floored by all that action and all that. Oops, sorry. All that action and all this stuff going on. I talk with my hands. It's a Scottish thing. I remember being excited about that and liking that a lot. I wish the kids wouldn't have gotten possessed. It made me feel bad. I was like, oh, can't all the siblings stay together? Because I love my brothers, you know, and I would die without them. So I had that sibling feeling thing going, and I was like, oh, I want them to be together, but that's not how it went.
Well, they at least the two were together in that sense. I especially what's her face? Let me pull up the Wikipedia. What is the? Oh my gosh, this is terrible. The younger, or the middle kid, the older daughter, when she turns.
I liked her character.
I love, I liked her the whole time. I liked her character. I like that we got to spend a little bit of time with her as a Deadite. Because I mean, Lily Sullivan's character, like she, what is it? Ellie, I think is the name of the character. I mean, she's such a show stealer once she turns into a Deadite. Like she has such an interesting face that when you put her in that makeup, it's like there is something really frightening about scary. Her.
They were scary. Yeah. I was like, oh man, they're really taking a lot of risks with this. This is really scary. These kids are really scary. And I liked that because I want to see more people taking risks with movies like that because, you know, back in the old days, I have to laugh at myself for saying that. Back in the old days, they did take more risks with movies. I mean, even the stuff that like I saw, like if you think about it, Gremlins is pretty freaking brutal. You know, I realize that it's a kids movie, but that is brutal for kids to see. The mom is a badass. She puts one of them in the microwave and explodes it, and they're really scary, those Gremlins. So I feel like they took more risky actions, like they took more risks with movies for kids back then. And even like in the 70s, there were some movies with some killer kids that I was like, wow, you know, they need to do that more often. I think that kids are scary.
Sure.
So why not play on that? Take a play on how some people just feel like kids are terrifying, because a lot of people do feel like kids are terrifying, and they are terrifying. Being a parent is the most terrifying thing that I've ever been through.
And that's the whole I guess that's leaning back into like the motherhood thing. I guess that is part of what the story is doing here, is it is showing that like, hey, having kids can be scary. And having a Book of the Dead can be even scarier. Now, what did you think of the whole, like, I mean, we've got the book here and everything. It's got teeth. Do you like the way the book is designed more than the one in 2013 in this film?
Yeah, I did. But
I do like the teeth on the side.
It kind of reminded me of Harry Potter, though, because
there's the book that tries to bite.
That tries to bite you. That's even in the game. There's a part in the game where you go into the restricted part of the library, and all those books that are there, and you walk by one and it starts shaking and it starts opening up its mouth and trying to bite you. And I love that. I think that's genius. But it did kind of take me out of it a little bit because it resembled those books so much.
But maybe J.K. Rowling got that from Army of Darkness, because Ash gets attacked by one of the fake books, at the cemetery that like bites up his back and everything.
Army of Darkness. I would not doubt that at all. I wouldn't doubt that at all. So
what did you? I thought it was like, I get why they did the record thing, because the kid is like a DJ and all that stuff. Like, what did you think about that instead of? I mean, I get that's just sort of like the reel to reel. They sort of like just leaned into that. What did you think of that? You get a little Bruce Campbell voice in the background there for one of those parts.
I liked that a lot. I liked that a lot. It reminded me of that Rob Zombie movie. What is the name of that movie? Where they have the record and it brings all the witches. It's a witchy record. Dee Wallace is in it.
Is that 31?
No, it's the one before that.
I haven't seen all of his movies. I'm bad. I know I'm bad.
Come on, people in the chat, help me out here. What is the name of that movie, that Rob Zombie movie? The only one where Sherry Moon is good. And she's wearing that black and white striped sweater, and she gets taken over by witches. I cannot remember the name of it.
Is it Lords of Salem?
That's it.
Okay. There you go.
I love that. And that's what it reminded me of, because the same exact idea happens in that movie with the record. She plays the record, and it causes everybody to become possessed and then turned into witches, which is awesome. You should, if you haven't seen Lords of Salem, you should totally see it, because it was really good. It is a really, really good movie. And Sherry, I gotta check that one.
That's great, because she's not always. No. And I've seen some reviews of it. It looks like it's a really like beautifully shot film as well. So I definitely gotta check it out. What did you think about? So in Evil Dead 2013, we've got that. We have like the entity, the abomination that like comes out of the ground. But in this one, we get, I just call it the amalgamation, because I don't know what the hell they really call it. But when the mom and the two kids like turn into the same creature, I think that's pretty awesome. Like, I do like the I like that whole scene, the whole scene in the parking garage. I really dig that. Like, Beth has finally got like blood all over her. She gets the chainsaw and the shotgun and everything. It feels like it's like we're finally kind of there with her. And then oddly enough, it's funny because Halloween Ends did the same thing with like the wood chipper kind of thing. Isn't that kind of funny that both of these movies have that in there?
Yeah, I like that though. I do. I like that. I like the amalgamation because it reminded me of Color Out of Space. Have you seen Color Out of Space?
No.
Oh my God, you have to.
I've never even heard of that. I've never even heard of it.
Nick Cage at his best. I mean, it is a wacky, crazy movie. It's
Oh, okay. This looks familiar now that I'm looking at the poster. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, really good movie. It's what is the word I'm looking for?
It's Lovecraftian.
That's it. Thank you, God. Maybe I'm not all there upstairs.
Oh, you're fine. Come on,
I would
Jamie.
normally remember this stuff, but I'm trying. Anyway, I really liked that because it reminded me of that, and I thought it was kind of genius and also kind of scary and also really risky because it's creating a monster, taking the mom and the kids and making it into a big blob kind of thing. And it also reminded me of Society. Have you seen Society?
No, everyone tells me to watch it. I just hear it's so like messed up though.
It is, but my husband doesn't like horror movies. He only watches them for me. He watches them because I want to watch them. But I showed him that movie, and at the very end of the movie, he stood up and put his arms up in the air like this and goes, "Oh yes, he came out his ass." And I was like, "Oh my God, that is the greatest reaction I have ever seen in my life." I saw that movie in the theater. My boyfriend at the time was mad at me for bringing him there. He's like, "This is so gross." Oh, wow. And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun." He's like, "It's gross." It's
like extreme body horror.
It's very, very, very kind of like The Fly-ish. It has a lot of elements, and it's definitely worth watching. It's got a great message too. So I think you should watch that one.
Hell yeah. I hear so much about it. I just have to shut up and watch it.
It is unforgettable. And it fits
That's
in
what
with
it sounds
the Evil
like.
Dead. It does. It fits in with the Evil Dead in a way because of the gore.
Okay.
So I definitely think you should watch it.
Yeah, I love how with the amalgamation, like what I really dig about it, especially when it's like climbing on top of the wood chipper and all that stuff. I do get it, again, it kind of brings me back to like Evil Dead 2 when like the monster is breaking into the cabin and you see all the faces on it and the heads like sticking out. It's very like, it's just got this otherworldly kind of look. Again, I feel like if they had a little bit more money, we probably would have gotten some more of that in the movie. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Evil Dead Rise. I'm curious to know what the chat is saying here. I had a poll there at the beginning of the stream, Jamie, of what rating people would give Evil Dead 2013. And most people gave it 46% of 43 votes gave it 4 stars, and 44% gave it 5 stars. So almost everyone would put it in that higher echelon. So far for Evil Dead Rise, we've just got 17 votes, but it's looking 35% of people say 4 stars, 29% say 5, and 29% say 3. So there's definitely a bigger difference. More people would say, or that there's a good chunk of people here that would say 3 stars is kind of what they're thinking.
If I watch it again, I might actually raise my rating to 3 hearts, because I mean, for me, when I watch something once, sometimes I will forget things about it, and then I'll say that I didn't like it. But if I watch it more than one time, sometimes it does grow on me, and I start picking up on things in the background and hidden like understory, like written between the lines kind of things. Sure. So I might actually end up liking it more and putting it higher on my list, but as of right now, it's pretty much last.
And I think it's the shame about it is that the franchise is just so strong that you really have to put something that sets yourself apart from the rest to like really make an impact. So I mean, if anything, it says something about the whole Evil Dead franchise. I wouldn't say any of these movies are bad. I enjoy every single one of them. I really enjoy the TV show. We don't even have. I still think it's even way stronger than like the Scream franchise, because even though there's not like a terrible movie in the Scream franchise, I think the last 2 are pretty forgettable. And Scream just kind of leans on like literally the same like whodunit kind of thing that hasn't really. The formula hasn't changed too much there, where I feel like Evil Dead Rise or Evil Dead as a franchise is like, they're always working with the Book of the Dead and with the Deadites, but I do feel like there's sort of a stretchiness to like what you can do with the Deadites and what each filmmaker is going to do and like what they bring to the table that's different, than even Sam Raimi did 3 of these movies and each one's different, so I'm curious to know. I think this is a good segue to, I feel like we know how we, feel about Rise. Well, I'll let that poll sit open for a little bit longer and see if we get some more votes there. But moving over to Evil Dead Burn, we don't know much about this movie. We know that, so I got the IMDb pulled up here. So Sebastian Vanacek is directing and writing the movie with Florent Bernard, who was his writing partner on Infested. Now, I still haven't seen Infested. I gotta watch it. I was meaning to watch it, but I haven't seen it. But it's a spider movie that I heard mostly good things about. I
don't know. I don't know. I can't even watch that David Arquette one. I can't even watch that.
Oh, Eight-Legged Freaks is hilarious. It's like a total. It's like an homage to like the Roger Corman movies. It's so silly. It's really like it is like Evil Dead 2 as far as like the horror, comedy kind of thing goes.
My fear of spiders is so bad. I did not see Eight-Legged Freaks in the theater because I wouldn't go see it because
it's fun.
I just couldn't. I couldn't do it.
You'd probably have a good time. But so yeah, you're probably not going to check out Infested. But I did hear pretty good things about it. We've got a little bit of the news on the cast. Now, I don't really know who a lot of these people are. The one person that stands out to me is Tandy Wright has been cast in the movie, and she plays Pearl's mother in the film Pearl. She's really, really good in that movie.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
There's this guy Hunter Dewin he's on the Wednesday TV show. He's in Daredevil, Born Again. So a lot of these younger actors I don't really know. Let's see here. Luciani Buchanan and Soela Yokub. I feel like I'm saying these names wrong, or I'm just unable to read them very well. But all we have really is that. We have writer, director, cast, and a title. What do you have like an inkling of what you think this is going to be about, or like what you want to see them do with Burn? Do you want to see characters from Rise or make it over? Do you think that that's what's going to happen here?
I wouldn't mind seeing what was her name again? The final girl in Rise.
Beth.
Beth. I wouldn't mind seeing her, you know, in the next one. I think a continuation of her story would be kind of cool. I'd like to see how motherhood affected her. I want to know about the books. I want to know more about the books. So if they could give us a little exposition on, you know, the 3 books, where they came from, who wrote them. I mean, because I'm guessing that this isn't necessarily going to be like the same kind of story that Ash versus Evil Dead gives you about the books, you know, and how they were written.
Sure. Yeah. I would imagine it's going to be, it's going to be different if we ever get that.
Right. Do I like Army of Dead more than Rise? Oh yeah. Army of the Dead. Do you mean Army of Darkness? Or is Army of the Dead a different movie that I haven't?
Army of the Dead is the one that Zack Snyder made, but I'm guessing Coy, that you mean Army of Darkness, right?
If Zack Snyder made a movie called Army of the Dead, I am definitely gonna like it. I love all Zack Snyder movies. I've never hated a movie of his. Even the ones that everybody else hates, I'm like, I love them.
Yeah, his movies are fun.
Yeah,
his movies are fun. And Coy, by the way, welcome on in. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat on Lords of Salem is her best performance. And the $1.99 on Color Out of Space is fantastic. Jamie is on fire. And we got Dominic St. Clair in the house. What's happening, Dominic? Hope you're doing well. What do you think this one's going to be about? I know we don't know anything. What does Evil Dead Burn like? What does that like conjure up in your head?
I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting title. I don't know what they mean by burn. What's going to burn? Is it going to be a person? Is it going to be a deadite? Is it going to be a bunch of deadites? Is it going to be the book? I mean, what is going to burn? So that's really, really, really interesting. I don't know what they're going to show me. And I'm not really one to like speculate a whole lot. Like, this is, I love you Scream people, okay? I do. I love you. You are awesome people, but you guys go way too far with your speculations on Scream. It does get a little bit crazy. So I don't tend to speculate on movies when they're coming out. I won't watch a trailer. Very rarely. Once in a while, I happen to catch a trailer, and it's by accident usually. Once in a while, I'll click on one on purpose, but it's very rare. I would much rather go into everything completely blind. And the reason why is because I feel like if I go in not knowing anything and having no pre-expectations, that I'll be able to give a more fair assessment of what I thought of the movie. Yeah. So I tend to just go right in like blind to everything. And I feel like I get a better experience that way.
I think I would have liked Evil Dead Rise if I didn't watch any of the trailers. I would have liked it more the first time because the trailer shows the glass through the neck. It shows the cheese grater. It gives away like these really big moments in the movie where, I felt like were a couple of the bigger, gory kind of moments. But I know what you mean.
Trailer. They showed the cheese grater. The cheese grater made me do the Home Alone face.
I know. That's why I thought, I was like, shit, if they're showing that in the trailer, then the movie's going to be bonkers. And then I was like, oh, that's like the worst the movie got. Like, that's the, you know what I mean? Like, I was sort of like, oh, that's like, I know the movie. I'll be fair to Evil Dead Rise. It does do a few other things really well. But I was just like, I thought just with how bonkers 2013 was that Rise would really push it. So I'm hoping with Evil Dead Burn, now that they know they've kind of got something and that people are like reinvigorated about the franchise, like I am hoping that they put the gas pedal all the way down, and that from here on out, when we get a new Evil Dead movie, it's going to be like a requirement that you do something that's just like off the wall, crazy, gory, something that people will leave the theater and talk about, something that people will talk about years down the road. So that's my hope. I'm very I'm happy that Rise was good enough to keep things going, and so we've got Evil Dead Burn that they're in pre-production right now. I think Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert, and Bruce Campbell still hold the rights. Sam's getting writing credits on all of these because he created the universe. And I think we know more about Evil Dead Burn right now, but apparently there is a second Evil Dead movie that is in the very early days of pre-production. So we might get one in like 2026 and we might get one in 2027. I looked in this one is coming
out there to Fede Alvarez that we want another one of his, please.
Yeah. I'm going to look it up right now to see if I can find anything about it. Projects in the work. I'm just talking to myself, everybody. Yes, 2 new Evil Dead projects are currently in development. Evil Dead Burn, directed by Sebastian Vanacek, which is set for a 2026 release, and another project developed by Francis Galuppi. All right. We don't know anything about the second one at this point, other than that's the person that's working on it. So I think we really could see these anthologies. And I'm sure you've heard me talk about it here on the channel, as I'm sure everyone else has as well. You guys are probably like, stop talking about the same thing. But I think there's a really great opportunity for us to get Evil Dead movies that happen all over planet Earth and all throughout time, especially now that we know of the 3 volumes of the book. So Evil Dead could be like a really fun playground for up and coming filmmakers to just kind of get to do something, playing in this big sandbox. Like, I don't know. I'd want to see. I can think of so many directors that I'd want to see an Evil Dead movie from. Like, I'm like, fuck it, Tarantino. Because technically, when Tarantino was developing the Star Trek movie he was going to work on, or write and direct, he wasn't going to count that as one of his 10 movies because he would think of it, since it wasn't his creative work. He wouldn't count. It would sort of be a side project. So I'm like, oh, I'd love to see that. I'd even like. Damien Leone from Terrifier, like, he seems perfect for this kind of thing. Like, the lore is already there. He's not that good at the lore, at least we know that so far, but he's great at the gore. So doesn't care about the lore, but is great at the gore. So
the gore in Terrifier, though, is not the same kind of mean-spirited. It's different. It's too much for me because it feels like it's gore for the sake of gore, and I don't. Yeah. That's not what I'm wanting. That's not what I'm looking for. I need a little substance, a little lore, a little storyline to latch onto. I don't want to just go in. I'm not like one of these people who believes that like movies are all about just entertainment, because that's not what I believe that storytelling has ever been about. I believe storytelling is about sending messages. It always was, even around when we were cavemen, Sure. They were doing stories around the campfires, and that's how it all started. So for me, I need to see a little substance. I need something for my brain to latch onto. That's why I'm a David Lynch fan. Oh, I did it again. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
I hope that's not loud.
It's really not that loud. It's not so bad because you're not actually hitting the, like, if I tap my microphone, it would blow the whole thing up. But
I'm new to this arm thing. So this whole setup is like new for me. So I'm like, I don't know where
you're
to put
doing
great. I'll keep them back here.
There you go.
I forgot what I was saying.
You were saying you like David Lynch because you like the messages and for the story to have that substance.
I like David Lynch because David Lynch, he tells a story, even though it's not like always a linear story. Sometimes you have to take it apart and put it back together. I like Saw, like, because of the same reason. People say after 3 that it sucks. No, it doesn't. You're just not getting it. Okay. You have to go and watch every single movie, because some of the pieces of the puzzle are in the later movies that attach to the first few. Yeah. So you have to actually see it all. And it's kind of the kind of series you watch over and over and over again, because it's got so many different facets of it. You kind of want to put it all together. Plus, Saw is just, John Kramer's a genius. So I just absolutely love that. I mean, if I was going to fall in love with a serial killer, he'd be an engineer. So
there you go. Yeah, I mean, it is the Saw seems to have like I haven't watched every single movie, and I think I've seen like through 4 maybe, but it is like way more. There's wrinkles in there, and I guess I need to catch up on them just to see how all the pieces fit. But I totally see what you're saying. I think that yeah, like storytelling. If you're not entertaining with your storytelling, then people might not really care about the message. So I think it's like a little bit of both. Like I think, yeah, in some way, like all storytelling is kind of like edutainment. Like they're trying to teach you something or at least get something across. So that has to be there. And the tricky thing and the fun thing is like when they can sort of teach you something or make you realize something in a subtle way, almost like you don't even know that that's what's happening. They're crafting the story in such a great way that you're not even realizing that the message, you're almost like discovering the message yourself. So yeah, I mean, I think, maybe I could back off a little bit on my Damien Leone in Evil Dead, but I would certainly rather have him in Evil Dead than like Friday the 13th or any other like slasher franchise. Cause I think Evil Dead is sort of, it's all kind of there for you, and you can take pleasure in the gore. As long as, and of course you would have Raimi like looking over your shoulder. I just think that like the practical aspect of him, working on an Evil Dead film would be fun. But at this point, why would he really do it? Because he's kind of built up his own empire.
Right.
Are there any filmmakers you would like to see jump into Evil Dead?
Rob Zombie. I know a lot of people are going to go, what? Well, you guys, listen, Rob Zombie, the reason I like Rob Zombie is because he's unique. He doesn't, if you see a Rob Zombie movie, it's a Rob Zombie movie just by looking at it. And that is something to me that is special. If you see a Tarantino movie, it's a Tarantino movie just by looking at it. If you see a Kubrick movie, it's Kubrick just by looking at it. So those types of people, in my opinion, they're the best kind of directors because they have a vision that is unique to them. And I would like to see a little of that in Evil Dead, and I think because he's so like good at taking like really risky language, really risky gore, really risky things, and turning it into something to me that I think's entertaining. I would like to see that. I think he could take Evil Dead and do something pretty brilliant with it, and I think it would look good.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think his movies look really good, and
the music is always top notch.
Yeah, and I don't know if he ever wants to make a movie again, but I could see him wanting to work with somebody like Sam Raimi, because I would imagine working with Raimi, Tappert, and Campbell is relatively easy. I know the showrunner for Ash vs. Evil Dead had some issues with Rob Tappert, but it seemed like Rob Tappert was kind of like in the lead as far as producing goes for the TV show. So I mean, it seems like Sam is more in charge of like with the movies that they make. So yeah, because I know he had all that trouble with the Weinsteins, Rob Zombie, when he was working on the Halloween movies. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think something like the Evil Dead, it could get really ugly, but in a really awesome way. And yeah, I think that's a pretty damn good one. Ty brings up a really good one here. Demian Rugna, the guy that did When Evil Lurks and Terrified. Have you seen When Evil Lurks?
No.
It came out like, I think it's 2023. I think it came out at the end of the year. It's really good, Jamie. Yeah,
I'll have to add
it is basically, it is like the only, and I guess maybe the reason why I didn't think of it is because When Evil Lurks to me feels a lot like, it's like Evil Dead, but it's a little more grounded, oddly enough. They, it's in the not too distant future. Like all the main religions of the world have basically gone away, and possessed beings start popping up in different spots in the world.
That kind of sounds right up my alley.
And it's really gory. It's an Argentinian film, so yeah, I watch it with subtitles. Really great music, like plucking of like cello and like viola strings and stuff like that. Really great. I know this is so nerdy, but really great like shot blocking. Like they'd set up a shot and then somebody moves or the camera moves and it reveals something like totally fucked up to the audience. Like really fun stuff like that. And Terrified is, I don't know if it's actually connected, but it's his first movie that he made, and it's really cool, like spooky haunted house possession kind of vibes too. Yeah, Damien Rugna would be really great for Evil Dead. The only thing I'm thinking is he might be like, but I just did that. And I saw him, Kyle Curtis from Flet's Movies and Pop Culture 13 had him on there, and he said he wants to do Friday the 13th, and I'm like, oh, that would be cool to see him do something different than what he's already done. But yeah, it's so guys, let us know.
Movies? Yeah,
they're Argentinian, but I think he's working on something. I think he's working on something right now. I'm not sure. But they were like, When Evil Lurks was, I think it came out a couple years ago in Argentina, and then Shudder helped bring it out here, helped bring it to the theater here.
Right.
Really, really good. And yeah, Ty says see Terrified as well. Oh, yeah, it might be scarier. I think I liked When Evil Lurks better, but hey, it was his second movie, so it seems like he's just getting better and better. What about David Gordon Green, guys?
For one minute. I will be right back. Okay.
All right. I'll tell everyone what I think about Evil Dead Burn, even though I've already told everyone what I think about Evil Dead Burn. But I'll be here. All right, guys. So you've probably already heard me say this. Let me know if I'm crazy in the chat. Let me know what you guys think. Either what you think Evil Dead Burn's going to be, or what you want to see from Evil Dead Burn. I think it's going to take place. I think the burn in the title, it means that we're going to see some like Salem witch hunt action. So I think it's going to be in the colonial days in northeastern, United States of America. And I think we're gonna, if I had to write this movie just based on the title, I would put it to where, maybe some of the religious folk have found the book. They've unknowingly awoken the spirits within the book. And then I don't know how much you guys know about the Salem witch hunts, but there are, younger, teenage girls, young women that are hanging out in the forest late at night. So maybe the people within the church have, found the book, they're researching it, they're reading from it, they awaken the demons start possessing the girls. The people in the church are A, trying to cover it up, and B, just trying to blame it on the girls. So they're like, oh, we got to burn these witches. So that's what I think Burn is going to come from that. And I think it would be really interesting, like very interesting to go back in time and do another, like another period piece. So to take it back to the colonial days, and, see one of these versions of the book, maybe the version of the book from Rise, because that's the version where it sounds like it's a bunch of church folk on the vinyl recordings. So yeah, Jamie, I don't know how much you heard of that or if you've heard me say it all before.
I heard none of that because I went to the bathroom.
Oh no, you're all good. I'm hoping Evil Dead Burn takes place in the colonial days during the Salem witch hunt trials, and I hope that it's the religious people have unknowingly awoken the spirits from the book while they're researching it, and the demons get in the young girls, and as a way to cover up their involvement and a way to deal with the Deadites, they just say that the women are witches. Like that's the story that I would write.
Genius. Why aren't you making movies?
I don't know. So hopefully, and it's so like, I think that's kind of the cool thing. And I like that. So they did Evil Dead Rise. It's a singular, verb, right? So it means like rise because they're in the high rise apartment, but it also means rise because the demons are rising again. So it's like, it is kind of cool that they're putting these, these verbs, singular verb usage in the title. So yeah, I don't know what you got. Let's see if anyone else is putting in here. Burn meeting a lot of fire showing up. Well, that's what I imagine is them burning a bunch of witches. I would love a period piece Evil Dead. I'd like it in Louisiana, more of a voodoo flavor down by the bayou. I'd take that all. Yes. Yeah. what would you call that? You would call that Evil Dead Jambalaya. Maybe an evil sorceress wolf.
Beads.
There you go. Evil Dead beads. They gotta get a goat possessed, show the witch how to actually use a goat. Hey, I liked the witch. I thought the witch was pretty good.
Ben, how you doing? Ben's
oh yeah, we got Ben.
Mods.
Ben Grimm, one of our great channel members, hanging out. Hope you're doing well, Ben. Maybe the demon comes from a hot pepper challenge.
That's
Evil Dead, and
it
happens on Hot Ones.
Hot Ones, yeah.
So yeah, future of the Evil Dead franchise, I'm feeling really good about it. It's like we've got, all this stuff going on with Friday the 13th, split between two camps. It sounds like maybe something. I've heard a couple rumblings. I can't say from who, and I can't confirm or deny these reports, but I've heard some rumblings that we're going to get some sort of a Nightmare on Elm Street news very soon about what's going on with the rights. And that there might be a path forward for Freddy to return, but I think it's refreshing with like Halloween and with the Evil Dead that these rights are, being held by people that consistently want to, use the IP and do something with it. I mean, I think they could put this anywhere. I've said this one before too. Like, put one of the books on one of Columbus's ships. Put the book on the Santa Maria,
Yeah.
And we could have a whole movie that's just on the ship, and then you could do a movie about what happens when it gets here. Like, what if native tribes get it? What if because in American history, I mean, in world history, people fight each other, and tribal people have wars, and we're never going to get rid of them. So you could even have that be like almost, you could use that in a story about like pre-colonial Americas, about the tribes are trying to gain control of the book. You could just play with so much. I would love to see another one that's in like northern Africa during like the colonial days there. Like, I'll just take them wherever you got. Put one in China, put one in Japan. Fuck it, let's do it. Let's do Evil Dead.
Put one on the Demeter, and then we'll have Dracula versus the Evil Dead.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Dracula versus
that would be
the Deadites.
He would probably just use it. He would be unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, because the Deadites he doesn't have a soul, right? So the Deadites would have like no reason to want him.
He'd be their king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Let us know in the chat what you guys want to see. This is probably a pretty decent time to wrap it up. We've been talking for about 2 hours, 15 minutes. We do have 28 votes in the poll of what rating do you give Evil Dead Rise. 39% of folks are giving it 4 stars. 32 give it 5 stars. 25% are giving it 3, and just 4% are giving it 2. So that's pretty favorable for both of those movies, for 2013 and for Rise there.
I think that's fair. I mean, I didn't hate the movie. It's good. It comparable to like other really bad movies. It's great, But I just in the franchise itself, it's coming in last at this point. So
yeah, I think I'm pretty lukewarm on it, even though there are things about it I really like.
Right. Hey, before we go, real quick,
yes.
I want to ask you how your watch of Twin Peaks is going.
Yeah, so Twin Peaks, I think my brother and I are like 4 episodes in, so the pilot and then 3 episodes after that. It's going, I'm really digging it. And every episode, like, I'm realizing how much this is like influenced modern television. Like, every show now has like some corporation that's doing some dirty stuff, and like drug dealers in the background, especially stuff like Bates Motel. Like, when I watch Bates Motel, I'm like, or now looking back at Bates Motel, I'm like, oh man, they kind of took quite a bit from Twin Peaks, just as far as like really layering like what's going on. And I love how each episode of Twin Peaks, it's just like peeling layers off the onion, kind of like you're getting to see just a little bit more of this character, or a little bit more of what might have been going on. Like, you you learn very early on that whatever was going on in Laura's life, like she was a very troubled person. So in the pilot episode, you just feel really bad. And then by the second episode, you're like, oh, well, she was like involved in some really crazy stuff. And then the next episode, you're like, oh shit. Like even Bobby is like, or the fourth episode, Bobby's like calling everyone out at the funeral and everything. Like we all knew she was in trouble.
I love that. I'll never forget when that aired on TV. I was glued to the screen because I'd never seen anything like that before. And you just wait. When it gets into season 2 and they start revealing who did it. That's the reason the show died, though. So, and I remember
once they let it out.
Yes, they begged all summer. Who killed Laura Palmer? I even have the T-shirt. Who killed Laura Palmer? Laura Palmer's picture on the front.
Yeah.
They went too crazy with it, and the suits, who are so dumb, they have no creative bones in their body. They don't understand, that they don't really want to be told who it is. They want the mystery to continue. They got it all wrong. Just because people were asking all summer who killed Laura Palmer doesn't mean they wanted to find out. And that was supposed to be the goose that was laying the golden eggs. That's how Lynch puts it in his interviews. Laura was the goose laying the golden eggs. It was the mystery. That was what people wanted to come back for. And when they solved it, everybody stopped watching. And fortunately, it did continue on there's a lot of episodes in season 2 because there was a writer's strike at the time. So they kind of took advantage of that and, kept the show going for a while. And that's why it will end on a cliffhanger, because they were trying to get them to understand, that this show needs to continue. They could have came up with another mystery, or they could have had a spin-off show with Audrey or something, who I absolutely adore, Audrey.
But the movie is like a prequel, right? Fire Walk with Me is like more about Laura when she was alive.
Yes, it is all about Laura when she was alive. And the reason that I told you watch it in between 2 and 3 is because it's going to reveal to you who did it. So if you watch it before season 1, you're already going to know the answer. So gotcha. you don't want that.
So you watch season 1 and 2, Fire Walk with Me, and then The Return.
Yes, and there's also another movie. It's called The Missing Pieces. He took all the stuff that he took out of the show and all the deleted scenes out of the movie and made a whole another 2-hour movie out of it. And it's actually really good. It's genius. But you don't have to watch it to get it. You don't have to watch it to get season 3. But you do need to watch Fire Walk with Me to understand certain things in season 3, because season 3, David Lynch was getting a little old, and I don't know if he was getting a little senile, but there's some stuff. I still haven't got season 3 pulled apart and put back together. I still don't fully understand what was going on. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. My second watch through, I loved it again. It's great, but it's a lot of he's so frustrating sometimes. There's like a 5-minute sweeping scene. If you want, just fast forward through that, because it's really annoying. and I was so mad because I knew as soon as I saw him do that, I looked over at my husband. I go, that damn asshole, he's going to get all these people to not watch it anymore because of the fact that he's doing a 5-minute sweeping scene.
Well, he's known for being pretty obtuse. And I think that Twin Peaks is something that, at least from what I've seen, is him doing something that's a little there are bizarre moments and stuff like that, but it is a little more normal than the other, it's way different than something like Blue Velvet, or you know what I mean? It's just a bit more quirky in a fun way instead of quirky in a oh, this is bizarre kind of way. Because
Mark Frost is involved. Mark Frost and him wrote the show together. Also, I should send you the video about where David Lynch and Angelo Badalamenti are creating the theme song for Twin Peaks. What do you think of that music? It's freaking amazing, isn't it?
I really like all the music in the show. My brother is like, I don't know about this music, but I'm sort of like, I like that little bow bow.
The opening of the opening music is iconic.
Yeah.
Like everybody remembers it. It
Yeah.
was every time I would hear that theme, I would just be like, "Oh, my show's on." I remember doing my math homework during that show.
It's got the theme it reminds me a little bit of like Take My Breath Away from Top Gun. Like a little, the instrumentation is a little bit there, but then I also like the little sweepy sort of lounge music, the beatnik kind of vibe that they put in there as well. So there's a few different flavors with the music that they work in there. But I do really like the theme. Like it puts you there for sure. I'm so excited to be able to like watch it through, hop on here with you and Des and like really get into it. And then, ultimately, like pretty much I would just have you guys kind of, take the reins on that stream. And you can just tell me all the things that I missed or
I can't wait. I can't wait to show you guys all the stuff I have, all the signed stuff I have, all the books that go along with it. I have books. Like there's 4 different books that I have that go along with the show. There's the Secret History of Twin Peaks. There's the Final Dossier. There's the guidebook to the town. There's actually like a guidebook to the town that explains so many things to you and that came out in the 90s. So people don't even know about that. And the funny thing is I had that book back then. My mom bought it for me for Christmas the very first year. And I actually got rid of that. Well, I didn't, my mom did, but that's a long story. But my husband found...
She's like, you're too obsessed with this Twin Peaks business. I'm getting rid of the book.
She just, when I moved out, she just threw everything. Like I have nothing from my childhood because she just got rid of all my stuff. Yeah, she was interesting.
Like, you're not my kid anymore.
I'm way more like my dad. But I have a signed watch that only 200 in the world. There's only 200 of them in the world.
Damn.
And I have one of them. It's signed by Kimmy Robertson, who might be related to me because I don't know if you know this, but my maiden name is Robertson. And, yes. So I asked her, I said, are you of Scottish descent? And she said, yes. And I said, oh, and she said, well, maybe we're related. And I was like, oh, wow, that's so cool. Because I'm friends with her on Facebook. I'm friends with quite a few of the show people on Facebook because of the fact that I did the Twin Peaks talk show for 2 years. And I made friends with like James, the motorcycle guy, James.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm friends with Sherilyn Fenn.
Wow, she's so smoking in this show. Oh my gosh.
Beautiful. And she's a beautiful soul too. She's a very nice person. I really like her a lot.
Yeah,
I can't wait to show you guys all my stuff.
Hell yeah. I'm hoping that we can sneak in a couple episodes tonight. I'd like to try to just watch like 2 at a time because there's 8 episodes in the first season. I'm hoping there's about that many in the second. I don't know. Maybe they doubled
the
up.
Second is like 28 episodes or so.
Oh,
yeah.
That's epic.
Here's the thing. Not all of the episodes are directed by David Lynch. Some of them are directed by other people. You'll see like Diane Keaton. She directed a few episodes. But see, they got it wrong. They think that David Lynch is just about being weird and quirky, And so they put a bunch of weird and quirky stuff in the show. But the truth is, he's not about being weird and quirky. It's not about his weirdness. It's about the depth of the darkness and that's covered up by the brightness of the suburbs, basically. That's his thing. And he also feels that way about he also feels that way about LA. And he's got his LA trilogy, which would be Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, and Inland Empire. Watch those 3 together if you can, like right in a row, because those 3 are kind of connected to each other through this how Hollywood treats women kind of thing. And it's really good. And I don't know if you've seen Mulholland Drive yet, have you?
I have not.
The only thing I'm going to tell you to make sure that you understand what you're looking at is that the first 2/3 of the movie are a dream, and the last third is the truth. So.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Lost Highway, because I'm like, that's the one with Bill Pullman. I think.
Yes.
But I couldn't tell you anything about it. So it's like I probably watched it not long after it came out. I can't remember anything about it, so I'd have to watch it again.
He's kind of obsessed with like multiple personalities and like doppelgangers and dark sides, shadows, that kind of thing. And
yeah.
Hey, Des, look at my shirt. I thought she'd like that.
Yeah. You did come back at the perfect time, Des. We're talking because after we wrapped up our Evil Dead talk, Jamie's like, I want to know how you're feeling about Twin Peaks so far.
Yeah, because I was curious because I saw that you were saying that you liked it a lot. Who's your favorite character so far?
Oh, it's got to be Cooper. I mean, he's so like positive, and like even with like all the crazy shit that's going on, it's like I can already tell just 4 episodes in, he's like the kind of guy that just wants to like retire and live in that town. Like he just really appreciates like how chill everything is, the smell of the Douglas firs, all that kind of stuff.
What kind of fantastic trees you got growing here. That's awesome. I love it. And
so much. When Miguel Ferrer is like, I need you to sign this report about the assault on my person, and he's like, there's no way I can sign this. I just I love his character even more now.
Well, eventually he'll say, I love you, Sheriff Truman, which is what I put in that chat there. I put that line in there that he will eventually say that to Sheriff Truman. So you'll get to see them, understand each other a little bit better.
Yeah. And I feel like the sheriff, even in that 4th episode, is like already like I'm like, oh, he's like kind of acting different just with the way he's like right away with Miguel Ferrer. What's his name? Is it Alfred?
Alfred.
Like right away with him, he's like, dude, I'm just like, the attitude that you got coming into my town ain't gonna fly, homie. And I'm like, whoa, where's this coming from? Like, it's just sort of, he's just right away. He's like, ain't gonna put up with your shit, dude. And I'm like, all right. So he's kind of changing.
I love that too, because Alfred needs that. He's very snarky. In season 3, he has the best line ever. He's walking out, getting out of a car in the rain, and he looks up at the rain and he puts his umbrella up and he goes, "Fuck you, Gene Kelly," which I think was hilarious.
Yeah, and I mean Miguel Ferrer's voice, he's just like I mean, I'm a huge RoboCop fan. He's amazing in that film. I love his voice, like he was on that Duckman show. Yeah. Did you ever watch Duckman?
My brothers did.
Yeah, so I think it was like Jason Alexander was doing that. Like it was like it seems like it was at the same time that Seinfeld was going on. It's just bizarre that exists, but yeah, Miguel Ferrer, when he popped up, I was like, oh my god, I had no idea, and I love him so much. So
the guy from the Warriors.
I reckon right away I was like, that's the dude from the Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so funny in it. He's so funny. They're all funny.
He is.
And okay, so Dr. Jacoby and Ben Horn were together in another movie in the 60s, West Side Story.
Oh, crazy. That? No.
Ben is the lead in West Side Story, and Dr. Jacoby is his best friend in West Side Story. So they were in West Side Story together.
In the one that won the Best Picture?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So Ben is Tony, right? Is it Tony is the lead? Wow.
Yes.
That's fucking crazy.
I know.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Carrie's mom from Carrie. Carrie's mom is in it. Have you noticed that?
No.
Catherine is Carrie's mom from Carrie.
Oh, the bitchy lady.
Yeah, the redheaded.
The bitch.
Yes.
Yeah. And then even like right at the beginning, I was like, with Laura's mom, I was like, where do I know this chick from? I look it up. I'm like, Child's Play 2. I know her from Child's Play 2. Like, this is amazing. Like, I like recognizing all these people from like just little things.
Yeah, it was a star-studded show, and it really made a mark on the world. I will forever love that TV show, and I will forever love David Lynch. I've loved David Lynch since I was 8 years old. And I saw The Elephant Man. And what's funny is my teacher, and my second grade teacher, showed that to us in class. the Elephant Man. It's not exactly historically accurate or anything, but she
Sure.
was such a cool lady. And she was like, I want you kids to see this. And she showed it to us, and it blew my mind. And I went home, and I remember telling my mom, you know, we're watching this movie. She's like, I can't believe your teacher's showing you that. And I was like, what? It's not. She had only seen Eraserhead, so she didn't know that Elephant Man was, you know, not like Eraserhead. And finally I showed it to her, and she's like, oh my God, this movie. And she cried during like the whole ending part. It's so emotional. And because I saw his empathy through that movie, I could see his empathy, that I just fell in love with him. I was like, I love that man. He's awesome. And so my mom took me to see Blue Velvet when I was 12. And I think she regretted that just slightly.
Maybe.
A little bit.
It's pretty out there.
I kept cool. I did it again.
You're fine.
Cool during the whole thing, and she was like, okay, well, if you can get through that, then I think you can watch anything. And she told the theater people, she comes here by herself, let her in.
Damn. It was a different time back then in the 80s.
Yeah, it was.
Let's see
here. You're going to love it, and prepare yourself with some tissues, because you're going to cry for sure.
I still need to see that one.
The Straight Story is pretty good too. He calls it The Straight Story, not just because I think their last name in the movie is Straight, but because it's the only one of the few movies he's told in linear fashion. So it doesn't really, there's nothing, it's a Disney movie. There's nothing really like crazy about it. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So there's a double meaning to the Straight Story.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful movie. And
even in a movie that he shoots linearly, there's still going to be some wrinkles there, you know. Actually,
there's not. That's the surprising thing.
No, I just mean wrinkles with the title, because it's like the name of the family, but also that it is a straight. He's like, I have to work something in there that has at least one layer. You know?
And I think that was Richard Farnsworth's last movie, so it's kind of important for that reason too. Plus, it's got Sissy Spacek in it. I just love her. So she always wanted to work with David Lynch, and she finally did get to in The Straight Story.
Hell yeah! There's so much of his I have to catch up on, and I know that Twin Peaks is, you know, probably gonna kick everything off for, you know, doing a deep dive, because I'm really digging it so far.
I'm glad.
Hopefully my brother is down. Yeah, what is it? It's not even 9 o'clock. We'll be able to watch a couple episodes tonight. I need to see how
the show and had them go, yeah, that sucked. They've
never. Yeah.
Everybody likes it. So
I mean, even from the pilot episode, I was like, oh man, I'm so sucked in. Like I want to just be able to download all the information on the show. But it is cool to be able to, like, you know, like you were saying in the chat that we've got with Des, that you're like, oh, I wish I could, like, I'm jealous of you that you get to experience it for the first time. So it is cool to be like, all right, I'm getting to like see this like really important piece of art and experience it for the very first time, and experience it at a time in my life where it's like I can actually sit down and kind of bask in it and probably understand it better than I could have if I watched it earlier in my life, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was 16 when it aired, and it blew me away. And not many of my friends at school were watching it, I'll tell you. They were watching 90210. I was thinking 90210 and watching Twin Peaks. And then I'd go...
So how many...
Oh, go ahead.
How many times have you seen Twin Peaks?
Well, back in the day, they used to show reruns all the time, you know. Bravo Network, I think it was. They took it into syndication, and then they made like a whole bunch of intros for the show with the Log Lady, and they're very helpful. And the Log Lady is awesome. She's so funny.
The Log Lady's hilarious.
Have you seen the one where she's chewing the gum and she like sticks it on the wall yet? She chews like black pitch gum from trees because she's obsessed with wood. But Norma catches her doing it. She's like, I catch you doing that again, you're gonna get kicked right out of here. Don't be doing that again. And she just gives her like snarky look, but it's really, really funny.
Yeah, the last time I saw her, she is basically like, she tells Cooper that her log knows like what happened with Laura, and like that he'll have to ask the log or whatever.
And he won't, and she's like, that's what I thought.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I wanted to grab Ben had said could do, just real quick back on Evil Dead, could do Evil Dead in the future, find the book in a time capsule. Could certainly do that. Do kind of like a reverse of what happens in Army of Darkness. And then Prince wants to know from you, Jamie, how many movies can you watch in one day, depending on how free your time is?
Well, back when I had cable, it was all day long. Like whatever was coming, I would just flick through the 20 movie channels that I had, and whatever I felt like watching, I would stop on. I used to see like a lot of half movies because of that, but I mean, that's how I've been my whole life. I was just always watching movies. Even if I had HBO or Showtime or any of those channels, it was on. And unless MTV was on, a lot of times MTV would be on. And
MTV of course, used to be really good.
During my college years, I didn't watch a lot. Like I went to the movies a lot then, but I didn't watch a lot on TV because I just didn't have time for TV. I was in college and I was working and I was partying all the time.
Yeah. I've kind of even got like, there's like a limit of how much I can like sit and watch, like even when I do a double feature at the theater, I'm like, all right, dude, get fucking ready. You're going to sit like when I did Friendship and Mission Impossible, I was like, I'm going to the theater and I'll be there for like 6 or 7 hours and I'm going to be watching movies for like 5 hours of that time. So
that's dedication, man. That's dedication. Yeah. I could not do that. I could not.
And tomorrow I'm at least going to go see one movie. I'm going to check out that Karate Kid movie. I haven't heard very good things about it, but I figured I might as well check it out.
I love Karate Kid.
I mean, I love the first two. I never watched Cobra Kai. Facci really liked the new one, but Lee from Drum Dums really didn't. So I'm just sort of like, oh no, how am I going to feel about this? And I'm thinking about watching Bring Her Back a second time, because while I enjoyed it the first time, it didn't knock my socks off the way that Talk to Me did. But I'm like, well, maybe I should just give it another go. Maybe it'll just feel a little bit different, a second time around. But yeah, I mean, there were in my younger years, I would just sit there and watch movies all day on a day off if I could,
Yeah,
watch 3 movies in a row. Fuck it.
I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just had a kid running around, and I would have movies playing. A lot of times, though, back then, it would be kids' movies during the day, and then adult movies at night. That's why if you talk about
adult movies, all right.
Yeah, if you if you ask me like if I'm gonna go see like some animated movie right now, I'm gonna be like no, because I had to watch that stuff for like 15 straight years of my life. I used to watch all the Timmy Turner and the all those Nickelodeon shows with my kids. So I mean,
well, and the kids' movies, they get played. The kid wants to watch the movie over and over and over again. Like with my nieces and nephews, that's how it was. It was like, there was the same movie on over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, my son. That was Star Wars. I have seen Star Wars so many times. Not that I care, not that I mind it, because he wouldn't even be a fan if it weren't for me. But he loves Star Wars so much, and he has been collecting stuff since he was a little kid. So
I was Batman '89. Once we got that on VHS, I watched it almost every day. I was obsessed with that one. Yeah, that was
my first blind date. Yeah. And he had braces, so it was my first time ever kissing somebody with braces. It was weird.
I don't know. I had braces. I don't know if I've ever kissed somebody with braces, but I've had braces and made out. But yeah, I've never kissed somebody with them. Interesting. Oh.
Yeah, I never had braces, but I was down in Georgia at the time visiting my aunt and uncle at Fort Stewart down there, and because he was in the Army, and they hooked me up to go out on this date, and I was like against it. I was like, I don't really want to do that. I didn't have a boyfriend back home or anything, so it wasn't a big deal or anything, but I still was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I just want to watch the movie. Now I have to now there's a guy that's going to be there. Lame.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but it worked out okay, and he was a nice guy. I talked to him a few times after when I went back home. He lived in Tennessee. I called him a couple times. But I can't even remember his name. That was 1989,
Braces McBrace face. Have you heard of or seen this movie called Equinox? That welcome on in, where Nomad has gone before. It's been a while since we've seen you, but welcome on back. I don't think I've seen this one. Equinox.
I might have and not realized it though. There's a lot of times where I'll see something and I don't pay attention to what it's called, but
from 1970, reporter visits David Fielding in a psychiatric hospital for a follow-up story on the deaths of his 3 friends. Okay,
sounds good.
I've never heard of this one.
I'll have to look that one up.
From 1970. Appreciate the recommend. Oh my gosh, we got Chris from Movie Misfits Video. Good old Chris Snyder. How you doing, Chris? One of our great mods here, jumping on in. Well, we're just at this point, we're just kind of talking about whatever, guys. We're peeking out now. People are really jumping in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Evil Dead Rise was mine and Braden's first movie date. Oh, and second actual date.
That's so cute.
Too cute. I mean, I would imagine that the movie was probably more disappointing than the date, I would imagine, since you guys are still together and since we all know how Jamie and I feel about Evil Dead Rise. We're just lukewarm on it, everyone. Just lukewarm.
Yeah. It's not bad. It doesn't suck or anything. It's
no. Let's see here. Did you not see that in the theater? Oh, Equinox? What, 70? That would have been
1970. I wasn't alive yet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was born.
All right, you're off the hook on this one. You're off the hook.
And guys, don't forget my birthday is Sunday. Yeah.
Guys, Sunday is Jamie's birthday. Make her feel special. Send her a little love.
52. And I'll probably do my own stream that day. So I know I say that a lot and then I don't do it, but I swear to God, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And fudge, I should have mentioned this earlier on, but I'm sure people know by now, at least people that tune into this channel, links for Jamie's YouTube and her Instagram are in the description. So you can follow her there. I can even throw it up in the chat here as well. I should have mentioned that earlier.
That's all right.
Guys, she's at 772 subscribers. Let's get Jamie to 800 by her birthday if you're not subbed there already. Let's share that around. And then were we able to get, I'm curious to know, our Life in Horror. We were trying to get them up to 700.
Yeah.
Ooh, 702. All right, excellent.
Nice.
We were able to do it. Heck
Nice.
yeah. So let's get Jamie to 800 subs by her birthday on Sunday, at least by end of the day on Sunday. So guys, if you have a channel, share it out there. If you've got socials, share it. I'll be sharing it here after the stream. Do you know about what time you'd be going live there on Sunday, Jamie?
It'll probably be in the evening time. I'm guessing somewhere between 7 and 9.
All right.
I don't know exactly for sure because I don't know what those two got planned for me, Scott and
sure.
and Alex. I don't know what they got planned for me yet. They always keep everything a big secret until the day, so I never know what's going on that day. So we'll have to see, but I'm definitely going to do one that night. So
hell yeah. Anything else that you've got planned coming up?
I don't have anything planned, but I am going to start making more content. I'm going to start streaming more. Now that I'm better and I let the 3 months go by, like I promised my family I would, I am feeling good. The doctor has said, resume life as normal, and I am ready to come back. And I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about my own personal movie collection, and what I have in it. And I'm planning on talking about Twin Peaks some, and my love for David Lynch, of course. And who knows what else. I won't be the kind of person who is going to talk about like the latest news or the latest thing coming out, because it's not really my bag. I like to do deep dives and retrospectives, basically. So
Nice.
You're going to see a lot of me talking about older movies that I love and the reason why. So
hell yeah, that'll be great. Did you know Jason from Backtrack Cinema is looking for people to sort of join him on his team over there to do that kind of stuff? So
I saw that he sent me a message. I'm gonna have to, on Instagram, I'm gonna have to check it. I didn't get a chance to check it because I just signed in to get on here, but I'll check that and see if he's asking me.
Yeah, because he had posted something that he's basically like, yeah, it's that kind of thing. It's like, hey, I go back and, you know, take nostalgic dives into things. So if you want to be like a member of the team over here, so that might be you know, a fun little team to join. I was like, man, I like, if I didn't have so much going on already, I would totally be like right here. But I need to, gosh, we're slowly crawling to 1,500 subs over here. Although I will say this, since Hit the Bricks has been going on, like it's steadily gotten better. And even with the, you know, what's wild is like the shorts content, like there's just different people for each kind of content out there.
Yeah.
So there are people that probably watch my shorts that have never tuned into a live or watched a pre-recorded video. I know that there are, though, you guys are out there. But I think some people will just see me pop up in the feed like randomly, and then that can kind of like boost your channel. So yeah, just always trying to find creative ways of doing that too. Let's see here. Make sure I'm not missing out on anyone. Oh, people are giving you a little birthday love there.
Thanks, guys.
Chris says, let's get her to at least 777 tonight, jackpot, and then we can work on 800 after that. There you go. Yeah, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us here. Yes, Jamie's birthday on Sunday. Keep an eye out for that. Go and sub to her channel if you haven't already. The link is in the description below. I even put it in the chat if you scroll up a little bit. This was fun chatting Evil Dead with you, Jamie. Maybe we can put together some sort of Evil Dead themed watch party or something like that. Could be really fun.
Yeah. And there's
Evil
all
Dead
kinds
trivia.
of other movies we can talk about, dude. I have
That's
an
true.
extensive knowledge of a lot of movies, so we
Excellent.
can talk about almost anything.
Yeah. Let's chat offline and figure out what the next one will be. And then at the very least, I mean, you know, even if it's not Evil Dead again, by July of next year of 2026, we're going to have a new Evil Dead movie. So we will be able to revisit the franchise at some point. That'll be a blast. I think that's going to wrap it up for us here. I do want to thank every single one of you for watching the live with us. Of course, all the people that have tuned in after the fact. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure to click that like button. Don't make me come after you. Click the like button. Subscribe to Jamie's channel. Subscribe over here if you haven't already. Share both channels with people who you think would dig this kind of content. Shout out to the Patreon members, our amazing group of channel members, and of course the awesome Death Squad or Death Mod Squad out there. You guys are incredible. I'm so happy that we haven't had to worry about, you know, trolly nonsense and all that kind of crap lately. No, I would never say anyone's name. No.
All right, guys. Will not be named.
Yeah, they'll hear us.
Exactly.
They'll hear us and they'll jump on in. All right, guys, I will be back on Saturday night with Christian from Planet CHH. We're going to be watching Fletch to celebrate 40 years of that film, and Jamie will be back on her channel to celebrate 52 years of life on Sunday. So that is going to do it for us. Thank you all so very much. She's been Jamie Hart, and I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.